I'm live! There we go. I believe, at least I should be. It says I'm live, but thumbnail's still doing the counting down thing in the preview, so hopefully we are live. Hopefully. There you go. You need to change the resolution. No, I don't. YouTube, you always give me that error, but it's never actually true. Right, hello everyone, hello. I'm getting a slightly early start today because I'm literally just sat at my computer thinking, why do I need to wait 5 minutes? So, yeah. How is everybody today? Hey, boss. Looking forward to later. Wait, no, that's a different thing. Whoops, never mind. Forgive me, ignore me. Hi, Elio, good to have you all here. Yeah, because we get together next week, don't we? Yes, we do. It's next week. I don't know why I thought it was today. Losing my marbles, I swear. It's because I got my own personal session tomorrow. That's why. That's next week. Yeah. Don't. I'm running on like I've been getting like 5 hours of sleep at most every night this past week, just because I don't handle heat very well, and I've been like in a delirious kind of state. Oh no, the Silvanus build that's going up later tonight. And the builds I recorded, like, earlier this week, you can just hear me, like, completely, like, ow, ow. I don't sound very good. Any of them. We still need to do connections for that, too. Yes, we do. Yeah, so I'll get in the Discord for that later. But, anyways. Today's whole thing is just going to be another Deity Build stream. Nothing crazy, since I missed, last week's stream. If there's time for something later, I will maybe boot up BG3, we can continue the Pokemon run, or maybe I'll beat up Pathfinder or something. I don't know, I'm not 100% sold on that yet. If I feel like ending the stream, I'll just end the stream. But we only have 3 new... I think we only have 3 deities left to do, which we should wrap up in this stream, and then it's the Dead 3, and then that's it. Deity builds are done. At least for the ones that are represented in-game. There might be some other ones here or there, but other than that, it should just be done and dusted now, which is fine. I think that's pretty alright. Let me just make sure everything's going alright. It's a Discord stream. Yep, it's gone out. Discord announcement's gone out. Hello, Micah. What about a necrotic druid with partial illithid? Yeah. I did, I think I did, like, a spores druid open hand monk for, like, the necrotic unarmed strikes. You could put the, what'd you call it? The illithid powers on that if you want. Could totally work. I quite like the illithid powers on Monk. I feel like they complement Monk quite well. That's just my personal opinion. Hi, Ben. What year is it? I don't know. I've lost track at this point. I feel like it's going too quick. We're already halfway through this year. In fact, more than. It's just too quick, man. Too quick. But yeah. So, I believe the remaining deities we have left to do today are Kereska, Cyric, and Gond, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it's Kereska, Cyric, and Gond. Which we could definitely wrap up today, and then it's the Dead 3 after that. For which will be its own kind of longer stream, because they're a bit more special, so I want a bit more involvement with that from you guys. So, yeah. What animal would you suggest for a plush golem? What exactly do you mean, Zim? A plush golem? An animal? I don't know. Just get a bunch of smaller animals and get them all to, like, combine together into, like, a golem, I don't know. Joaquin, where's my gal? That will be a different thing, because that's not represented on the wiki or anything like that. Maybe. We'll see if that happens, but I don't know. But hi, Sim, by the way. Hi, Quay. Thinking about a Beastmaster Ranger and using all the items geared towards using Hunter's Mark to gain a bonus on damage while concentrating. Just don't know how to mix it with Nature Cleric effectively. Nature Cleric is good because you're less thinking about Nature Cleric, but you're thinking more about the, what do you call it, the kind of the base Cleric features. Because if you're not concerned about getting extra attack, you can go to level 8 of Nature Cleric for the elemental attacks on your from Divine Strike. But obviously you'd miss out on extra attack, which I don't think you really want. And I made a build like that, but honestly it's not one of my best. I would say that... And then Beastmaster, again, if you're going to be multi-classing, isn't very good either. You're probably going to get a better shot out of Hunter for the extra damage on things like Colossus Slayer and such like that, if that works with ranged attacks. And then use things like Guiding Bolt as well as Hunter's Mark, because if you use Guiding Bolt from Cleric, you'll be able to get advantage on your attacks against the foe. which can really, really help. Combine that with Hunter's Mark for the extra damage, and then use things like Sharpshooter, using that advantage from Guiding Bolt. That could work. Not my most solid thing right off the top of my head, but that could be along the lines of what you're going for. I don't know about Plush Golem. No, Zim. Hold up. Nothing I can't solve with a quick Google search, just as we're getting into things and letting people kind of join in the stream. Plush Golem. Let's have a look. I don't think that's what they meant. Why is it so, like... Hold up, I need a better picture of this. It's got, like, the same energy of, like, Mum, I shit the bed, or, like, it's my turn on the Xbox. Why? Why is it? It's the way it's just staring right at the camera. Alright, hold on. Okay, this obviously is the Dungeon Dad video on it. I'll maybe have a look at that later. But monster stat block. Is there like an image or something? It's a 5e race? No, probably not. Like a monster, right? Sleeps are anything usual, isn't it? I know, I mean, I've been starting at 1 PM more than 2 PM at the moment. I just find that, like, 1 PM is a lot easier for me to kind of stream. It gives me more time on the end, so I'm not, like, rushing to end stream, as well as it's just a nicer time of day for me to kind of get going. So I think 1 PM is probably gonna be the usual start time for streams now, just because it's a bit easier for me. Right, Plush Golem. So it's just... I mean, there's not much information on this monster, so I'm not entirely sure. But when I think of, like, plush, I think of, like, big, furry things like, I don't know, Snorlax, or maybe a bear. I don't know. Totally do Cyric as an arcane trickster, maybe. There was somebody a very, very long time ago, and I feel bad because I forget who it was, but they were on the Discord, and they suggested, like, a Cyric build. That was actually a duo build, where you had the Chosen of Cyric manipulating this other person, right? And that was kind of how they go. I think they did it as, like, it was kind of inspired by, like, I think, like, a dynamic in, like, WWE or something? Roman Reigns, I think? I don't know. But basically the whole idea is that, like, the actual Chosen of Cyric is, like, more like a caster who actively manipulates and such like that, like, enemies and allies alike through their lies. So something maybe like a bard. And then, I think there was, like, a barbarian attached to it as well? Not entirely sure. That's something we can explore later if we choose. Skittermander plushie. What am I about to find? Should I do this on stream? I'm sure it's a plushie. I'm sure it's fine. If this gets me freaking, like, struck on my channel, I'm gonna be pissed. What the? Oh my god! Oh, it's from. I can't decide if that's adorable. If it's, like, really cute or just has pure gremlin energy. That's interesting, though. Damn, son, you said that off the top of your head? It's a Starfinder race. Oh, yeah. Oh, hi, Mine. Yes, we're doing Cyric today. We're going to do Cyric, Kereska, and Gond. Starfinder, right. So I am planning to run in my own personal group with my old friend group. I'm about to wrap up my yokai campaign, and the next one I'm going to do after my buddy runs his campaign is I'm going to do a space campaign, and I'm trying to find the system that I want to use, because I usually use Call of Cthulhu, but for this, I want something else. I want something that has, like, ship customization, and, like, almost has, like, a Star Wars mixed with Alien type vibe. I want to keep a little bit of the horror, but also, like, you know, give my players a bit more mechanical benefits, because the only issue I have with Call of Cthulhu, even in my own kind of custom version of the system that I made for my campaign, level ups don't feel as special, so I wanted something that has good, like, mechanical level ups to give the players new things, but also has a bunch of other stuff to it. I've looked at Starfinder, I've looked at Ironsworn Starforged, and I've looked at Stars Without Number, and I've looked at OpenD6 Space, and I'm not sure which one I want to go with, because my group really likes narrative stuff, but I want to give them a bit more on the mechanical side as well. So I'm not sure what to go with, but I really, really want to run a space campaign soon. So if anybody has any advice, I'd love to know. Is Necromancer Paladin a good build? Can be. Go for Oathbreaker mixed with at least level 6 of Necromancer Wizarding, you've got something. Ah, Cyric, the guy who murdered Mystra. Exactly. Might be a fun thing to do. Starfinder is perfect for space RPG stuff. Yeah, but I think Starfinder is too much space fantasy, in a way. That's not really what my group goes for. Not really the high fantasy stuff. That's why we haven't played D&D. Starfinder is strongly influenced from the Cantina scene in Star Wars, and it has a lot of Elder Gods. Interesting. I'll look into it a bit more, but again, Starfinder is like an offshoot of Pathfinder, right? And Pathfinder I still don't understand to this day, so... But anyways. What you want is Traveler, then it has it all. Yeah, a couple of people saying Traveler. Hi, Jason. Traveler. Okay. I'll look at... I'm gonna, like... What I'll do is I'm gonna open that up in my actual, like, non-private browser that you guys can't see, and I'll have a look at that later. Traveler TTRPG. Right, I'll have a look at that later. Thank you very much. Star Wars 1, 2. Not trying to do just Star Wars, though. A little bit of influence from Star Wars in the general tone and kind of level of tech, but not just like I'm gonna go like a fun little route of like, you know, like little starships basically kind of being done like flying cars, like the DeLorean almost, stuff like that, like just kind of this weird sort of thing. But anyways, I recommend Call of Cthulhu if you like Elder God Lovecraftian stuff. I've been playing Call of Cthulhu for the past 3 years. I've been DMing and playing that system. Extremely fun. I've got the, I haven't been able to get the original Player's Handbook yet. In physical, I have the PDF version. But I do have Pulp Cthulhu on my shelf over here. I actually managed to get the Pulp Cthulhu book. It was like on sale at like a local shop, and I managed to pick it up. It's over there. But I love Call of Cthulhu. Anyways. We've been going off track for the past, like, 10 minutes. Shall we get started? I'm not sure how delayed the stream is, by the way. I've got it set to ultra-low latency, specifically to make it so that the the interaction is a bit more real-time. But let me know if there's any issues, because I don't normally stream with ultra-low latency. You've only played the 1920 setting yourself. Very fun stuff. I play... I've played campaigns in various different settings. I've done the modern day setting, but I've also done a campaign set in the 80s, which is my current one. Very fun. But anyways, so today, let's actually get into the Deity Build stuff now, because, you know, tangents and all that. Wait, is there 2 Jasons? There's 2 Jasons in the chat. Jason Gaylord and Jason Bridgman. Hi, both of you. Yes, I know. I will do a couple of... I will do, like, Deity builds for stuff outside of what's represented in BG3 if I feel like I have a burst of inspiration. But as far as the actual Deity Build series being a regular thing on the channel, that will be done when all of the deities that are listed here on the wiki in the deities section are finished. So things like Joaquin will probably get a build in the future, and if there are any other gods that I think are interesting, they'll probably get a build in the future as well. But what I want for the Deity Build streams to become after this is like generic themed streams. I want to do like a 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse stream, which we all come up with together, and then there's like a special week where 4 videos come out over the course of the week, all based on the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Each video gets its own thing, and then they become a full party build at the end once all the videos are out. There's going to be, obviously, the Dead 3 stream as part of the Deity build, so that's going to be its own thing. I'm also thinking of doing just general build request streams as well, where I build things on the stream. If they become a video, great. If not, whatever. Stuff like that. You're running masks of that thing on Pulp Cthulhu currently. Yeah, I don't do modules. So this is the one thing my group does, I think, differently than I think a lot of groups who are new, is that even though we were brand new to the scene, we did not run modules. We just made up our own campaigns. And I actually think that worked out really well for us, because it let us come up with things that we knew that we were all going to like, because we've all known each other for years. And it worked for us, but I've never ever run a module in all my time GMing. The 18, yeah, that could be one. But anyways, off track. I keep getting distracted. We're going to do a Deity build. We're going to do the Deity builds now, and we're starting off with Kereska. Because personally, I think this one is going to be the easiest one to do, and it's also one of my kind of favorite, like, kind of lesser represented deities in the game, because obviously the only direct link to Kereska in BG3, as far as I'm aware, is this, Kereska's favor from the Marka staff. Unless I'm missing something. Kereska. I don't think... Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the only direct relation in the game. The only direct mention. Yeah, so it's kind of like a normal stream today. again, I haven't actually done a full, like, Cthulhian setting yet. We mainly just used the system, Quay, to make our own stories, which we really like. Yeah, well, obviously, Kereska's favor is, like, the chosen weapon here. But the whole thing about Kereska, let's actually read the Forgotten Realms wiki, because it's not a long thing, and it'll give us an idea of what we want to go for here. Yeah, so, Kereska, pronounced Kereska, yes, I actually can pronounce this one, was the chaotic neutral dragon goddess of magic, specifically dragon magic and magical creativity. Ooh. I'm immediately leaning into wizard there, but that's just me. Kereska always manifested in the form of a dragon, so absolutely going to be playing a dragonborn. Although she was able to take on many draconic forms as she wanted to, the specific details about her natural form were unknown. However, she was always surrounded by a pulsating aura of magical power. That makes me want to get Fire Shield. It was believed Kereska had her lair in the plane of Limbo. Yeah, okay. Or Sorcerer for meta magic? Well, I mean, yeah. But I'll get to why I don't like Sorcerer as much for this build in a minute. And I'll explain my thinking. Kereska was reputed to have the ability to cast spells as many times per day as she wanted to, and she was the font of magical creativity. She was able to create any new spell-like power with a moment's effort. She also had the ability to empower any draconic creature with whatever level of spellcasting ability she wished, often bestowed her followers with the ability to cast new spells and spell-like abilities if it pleased her. And she's also known for giving the chromatic dragons their breath weapons, which I think is really interesting. Now, the history. According to draconic myths, it was Kereska who first taught dragonkind to wield magic. At some point prior to 1357 DR, Kereska empowered the gold dragon sorcerer Larendramga. We'll read about him in a minute, with the ability to cast more spells than any dragon naturally could, and was able to use both arcane and divine magic as a reward for his magical achievements. So that almost says Cleric to me as well, but I don't necessarily want to go down that route if we don't have to. We'll read about that other guy in a minute. And in the Year of Shadows, Kereska came into conflict with a draconic demigod, Kalzeranid, I guess, after he began aiding mortals such as Samasta in the creation of Draco-Liches. So we've got a thing against undead as well right off the bat, and unwittingly made use of the spell's elements created by her. She entirely subsumed the worship and portfolio of the demigod before consuming his life shortly thereafter. Ouch. And here we go. At some point prior to this, Kereska imbued the staff Markoheshkir with her power, granting a humanoid wielder elemental energy sourced from the goddess. And there it is. That's Kereska's favor right there. And for the worshippers, Kereska was revered by dragons of all kinds, although those adept with magic were specifically devoted to her. Dragons researching new spells often invoked her name in hopes that she would imbue them with power. Kereska's divine aims were also aligned with those of Mystra, that some followers are able to claim patronage from both. Oh god, imagine we make like a Dragonborn character with this build, and then give Romance Gale, and like that kind of works. So, I wasn't reading chat there for a minute, but that's kind of a general gist. It's literally just magical creativity. Probably going to be making a gold dragon sorcerer at least, but I really want to focus on wizard. So I'm thinking a sorcerer to start, but going with a wizard multi-class as well. Specifically because magical creativity, that's like writing things in your spell book, gathering scrolls. I mean, I can see an argument for bard as well, but I don't think so. At least for this build, not really. And I think Wizard is a bit more freeing, because Wizard does get more elemental spells. Because again, the whole point of, like, say, Draconic Sorcerer is to focus on one element, but obviously with Kereska's favor giving us all the elements, and Kereska's whole thing being magical creativity, it doesn't make a lot of sense to just kind of stifle our choices to one or two elements. I think we should go with Wizard primarily to allow us to use as many different magic spells as we possibly can, and kind of just be a blaster caster. Does that make sense? At least to me, from what I've read. We can read about this Larendrama guy now. I mean, I doubt there's much to it. But there's more about this guy than the actual god, but still not a lot. So we can have a quick read of this. Anyways, apologies for not reading the chat. Hi, Sean. Hi, I believe that's Canuck up there as well. Yep. We got JP in here as well. Thank you all for coming. Yeah, Evocation Wizard would fit this. Wild magic, maybe. Magical creativity brings prestidigitation to mind. I wish we had that in this game, like in full force, but who knows. Yeah, chromatic could also work, but the thing is, it seems like she deliberately had a thing for, like, this gold dragonborn as well, or dragon as well, so who we're reading about now. Laren Dramagar, more commonly known as Nexus, was a great worm gold dragon sorcerer, and one of the most famous gold dragons in the history of Faerun. See, it's all close to home. So, JP, we're doing Kereska, Gond, and Cyric today, and that is going to wrap up the Deity Build series, aside from the Dead 3, which are getting their own stream. Am I imagining that, or is that FNAF? I don't know what FNAF game plays this type of music. Anyway, we could be a chromatic dragon as well. Plus, evocation removes the fear of friendly fire. Exactly. Yeah, we don't necessarily need to do Draconic Source. I mean, I like Draconic Sorcerer because what it would allow us to do is if we went with a white Draconic Ancestry, we could pick up Armor of Agathis, which could be a pretty nice spell to have that we wouldn't normally get, but it's also an elemental spell. Also, it takes away the requirement to have Mage Armor up all the time, which I personally like as like a quality of life thing. So I could actually see us going for a 1-level start with Draconic Sorcerer, picking up white, because if we go for like a gold Dragonborn with like white Draconic scales, like from the character creation standpoint, that could look very visually appealing, as well as giving us access to Armor of Agathis, another kind of like aura spell that we could get. That's another elemental spell that we wouldn't normally be able to get otherwise. We'd get Constitution saving for proficiency, meaning that we're going to be better at concentration saves, and then we just go the rest of the way wizard, picking up pretty much every elemental spell we can, go in evocation, getting sculpt spell and all that, and just go blast, 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 blast. I kind of like that. The other thing we'd be missing out on is meta magic, but then again, I never see us going high enough in Sorcerer with this build for meta magic to really be impactful. I don't know. I'm going to read a little bit more about this guy, because this might give us a bit of a better idea of how to build this. So, yeah, maybe. Why is it got to be a white Dragonborn? Because that would give us Armor of Agathis. Hold up. Allow me to pull this up for you. Sorcerer. Draconic Bloodline. Here we go. You see all of these spells? 90% of these we can get through other means if we're playing Sorcerer or Wizard. Armor of Agathis is the only one we can't. We could get it from Draconic Bloodline Sorcerer or Warlock. Otherwise, College of Law Bard at 6 and 10. But I don't think we want to do that. Whereas an Armor of Agathis is a really, really nice spell because we are going to be a squishy spellcaster. It's going to give us extra temporary hit points as well as extra cold damage. And I think maybe playing a Chromatic Dragonborn with influences from... a Metallic Dragonborn, my apologies, with a Chromatic influence from the Sorcerer. It gives us a mix of Chromatic and Metallic, a Metallic that will kind of lean into the neutral nature of Kereska, because Kereska is basically the chaotic neutral dragon, whereas Tiamat is the evil one, Bahamut is the good one, Kereska's straight down the middle. So I think having influences from both visually contrasting each other on the actual design of the character would be pretty good, because I've got to take the actual what the character's going to look like into consideration for videos as well. See what I mean? Yeah. Chromatic Orb is a must-have? Absolutely. One of the funniest things I've heard is that Draconic, for Language of Dragons, has a different words for Sorcerer and Wizard, while other languages don't because they hate natural talent so much. Oh, hi, Connect. First, finally able to catch a stream. It's been my first Saturday off in a while. Well, I'm glad that you chose to spend your day off here. I'm honoured. You could do two different kinds for Dragon. One for Dragonborn versus Draconic Bloodline? Maybe. Can you get Armor of Agathis from a robe? Yes, but it's limited to level 3, which in the late game is not going to be very good. Whereas a high-level casting of this, for example, if we went to like maybe a level 5 spell slot, 5 times 5, that's a lot of hit points. That's also a lot of extra cold damage. It really, really helps. Whereas with level 3, you're only going to get like 15 extra hit points, which isn't great. So I think we can actually make this a lot better. So yeah. Yes, I know we can change what the colours the scales look like in the character creator, but I like the idea of kind of sticking to what we've chosen, because I do think it would look quite good. Yeah, I'm going to definitely go for like a gold-white mix. But now we need to figure out the actual leveling scheme for this, because that's kind of the important thing. I definitely think some mixture of Sorcerer and Wizard is what I want to go with here. I don't know if we would need Elemental Adept, because again, the whole thing is that we're not focusing on one element. Because our main thing here is going to be Kereska's Favor. That's the thing we're going to be working towards with this build. Which is going to give us access to incredibly powerful variations of every element. Because we would get extra spells that we can cast without needing to use our spell slots and the like, including up to level 6 spells, which is really, really nice, as well as gaining extra status conditions related to those elements. So for lightning, we get lightning charges. For thunder, we get reverberation, as well as shatter and destructive wave, which is really nice, because this is a very hard spell to get. I'm pretty sure only, 2 specific cleric subclasses gain this naturally. So it's going to be really nice to have that as an option. We get deadlier than arsenic, which will allow us to do the poisoned condition, meaning that they're going to be taking disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks, which is really nice. Flame of Wrath will give us heat. We already know how that works. Frost of the Dark Winter is going to give us Encrusted with Frost, which can be really nice. It's basically the ice version of Reverberation. And Sizzling Cataclysm will give us Noxious Fumes, which I've shown off on the channel before, but it doesn't usually get a lot of love. But it basically means get extra acid damage. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but we do get things like Melt's Acid Arrow and Hunger of Hadar, which we get is quite unique. Ice Storm and Cone of Cold, Fireball and Wall of Fire, Cloud Kill and Ray of Sickness, Shatter and Destructive Wave, and Chain Lightning and Lightning Bolt. We get a lot of really interesting spells and abilities with that. It gives us... And I can almost see this build changing its equipment to, like, reflect what element it's using at the time. I could almost make this build, like, technically 6 different builds in one as far as the equipment is concerned. One build as far as classes and leveling. So, again, Sorcerer Wizard. But you change your equipment depending on what you're fighting. Going for fire, get the heat equipment out. Go for thunder, get the reverb equipment out. So on and so forth. I like that idea, actually. Just like 6 different sets of equipment for each element. Ooh. I might do that. This is where I wish we had Order of Scribes so you could change for all the spell damage types. Yes, that or Transmute spell from the Metamagica Sorcerer, because that did the same thing. Wet Cloak can cast Fireball in melee. That sounds like a fun build idea, actually. If you want to buff all elements, you need level 10 Evocation Wizard. Yeah, exactly. Chromatic Orb is absolutely a must. I agree with Mine. I'm seeing our first level just being Draconic Sorcerer, and then the rest of it Wizard. Draconic Sorcerer we can use to get extra utility spells from level 1. So the things that we like to get, like Enhanced Leap, Featherfall, Shield, all that good stuff. Saving our Wizards, and then also getting the Draconic Resilience, and then for the armor. Also picking up Armor of Agathis, and then just going the rest of the way Wizard. Getting all of the Wizard spells all the way up to 11th level, so we're getting the 6th level things, so we can pick up, like, Chain Lightning, Globe of Vulnerability, Sunbeam, Odalix Freezing, Wall of Ice, because we wouldn't normally get these. And interestingly enough, am I wrong? Oh yeah, no, we did get Frosted Dark Winter, there is a nice one. I don't know why I thought there was not a nice one for a second. But yeah, we could get, like, Odalix Freezing Sphere and Wall of Ice, which we wouldn't normally be able to get. Those are 2 elemental spells we wouldn't normally be able to get, because it's only in the wizard list. And then we can get all of the elemental spells kind of as we go, and just pick up as many. We could get Conjure Elemental as well, which I think would be very on theme for this build. Been using that spell a lot lately. We can get Conjure Minor Elemental, Ice Storm, Fire Shield, which is oddly restrictive. It's only on the Wizard and Warlock spell lists, naturally. We also can get things like Wall of Fire. We can get so much good stuff. And obviously from Evocation, we get Empowered Evocation, adding our Intelligence modifier. Our cantrips become more powerful, as well as being able to get Sculpt spells as well. I personally think Sorcerer 1, Evocation Wizard 11. Are we all in agreement? Or even mix match, gloves for frost, boots for thunder, etc. Yeah, I can see that, actually. And I might provide that kind of, like, flexibility in the actual build itself. It is a bit tricky to mix that sort of equipment, though, because a lot of them overlap. For example, the gloves slot can be taken up by heat, encrusted with frost, reverberation. It's really hard to get all of those status effects working at the same time, but if you spec for them each individually, it can be really strong. Ooh, that's an interesting one, Jason. I like the addition of Tempest Cleric. I actually like that addition. My only issue is the wisdom score being tied to the retaliation, but I like the addition of Tempest Cleric here, but we are going to be missing out on those level 6 spells without the scrolls. I don't know. Maybe. You don't like evocation here. Do you want to explain why? I'm curious. Definitely get dual wielder for double staffs. I don't know about that because we are going to be pretty starved for ability score improvements. We're only going to get 2 feats with this build if we go with this leveling scheme. And we're definitely going to want that intelligence maxed out. And I'm not using things like, you know, the Ethel's Boon hair or anything like that really in my builds anymore. I've just kind of scooched away from it. But for further optimization, I suppose you could do that, but I'm personally not going to. Question: When you mix Sorc and Wizard, which stat gets used for damage? Depends on the spell you're casting. If you're casting your spell from the Sorcerer spell list, it will use your Charisma. If you're casting from the Wizard spell list, it'll use your Intelligence. So, for the Sorcerer levels, we'd just be picking up utility spells that don't necessarily need our spellcasting modifier. The only thing you do have to watch out for is that item spell save DCs, so things that come from items, will use the last thing you multiclassed into, which for this build won't be a problem since we'll be multiclassing into Wizard last, so all of our stuff would use Intelligence. Not a big deal. But hopefully that answers your question. I really like Transmutation Wizard here due to the Transmuter Stone having the same resistances as the Markiplier Staff. I get where you're coming from. I do. But I feel like, and this is me personally, I don't see the value in going for single resistances every so often in exchange for all the powerful abilities that Evocation gives us. Experimental Alchemy, don't get me wrong, is a good feature. But as a focus, it's not a focus of this build. And Shape Changer, if we're being honest, a level 10 ability, not really worth it. I personally think Evocation just makes more sense in going for the kind of elemental blaster caster thing that the whole Kereska vibe is going for. I think if I went for Transmutation Wizard, every single comment on the video itself would be, why the hell didn't you use Evocation? From my personal standpoint, I can see where you're coming from. I absolutely can. I just don't see it being worth it. But I agree. I do see where you're coming from. I just don't think it would be good for this video. Hi, Sean. Hey, Hobo. Can't stay out of state for a family thing. Love your content. Please keep it up. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate the support. You can match the Markiplier staff buff with the Transmuter Stone for resistance. Yes, I do agree. That does make sense. But I feel like, here's the other thing, though. With the kind of thing, if I'm going for like this multiple equipment thing, I can throw in those resistances from equipment anyway. Because hell, I could throw the Darkfire Shortbow on this build, not even use the bloody thing, and just get Fire and Cold resistance passively regardless. Acid resistance you can get from some boots. Lightning resistance you can get from the Spark Wall. Thunder resistance is the only one I don't think we could naturally get, unless you went like Storm Sorcerer. That's the only one I think we could not get. Otherwise, we could get all those resistances just through equipment alone. And if we're going with this multiple equipment per state of, like, elemental state idea, then I honestly don't see Transmuter Stone being worth it. Maybe in a video where I'm like, oh, I'm going to get, like, every resistance without Bear Totem Barbarian or something, but not here. I totally get what you're going for, but not for this build. I don't think. And yeah, you could also use the elixirs. If you really wanted to go down that route, use the elixirs. Yeah, that's a good point, Jason. I'm thinking Aberration to get more out of Fire Shield and Armor of Agathis and taking a 2 in Sorcerer. Hi, Louise. Good morning. I could see that. I could see where you'd go with this, but that's the thing. With Wizard builds, there is a lot of room. I feel like for pure offensive stuff, you could go for Evocation, and that would make sense. But obviously, if you wanted to play a slightly more defensive playstyle, and we would get the tools for it. In fact, actually, if you were going Abjuration, I would actually say go to level 10 of Wizard, pick up that 1 level dip at Tempest Cleric to get Sanctuary as another Abjuration spell to fuel this feature, the Arcane Ward. And then you could go with, you could have like a bit more flexibility there, because you'd also get the Tempest Cleric, like Thunder and Lightning Retaliation effect that just costs you reaction. Stuff like that, right? Yeah, I can see some people saying Armor for Agathis, but it really is down to personal preference then. You could make a Kereska team hobo. I get that. This is kind of a personal thing, though. I don't really like making full party builds that much. Don't get me wrong. They have their place. But I don't really like doing them. They're a bit more of a pain in the ass to make. As well as, you know, having to do the equipment. It's basically the effort of, like, 4 videos put into one. It's not really my thing. And I like focusing on individual characters more than whole teams most of the time. It's only when which is why when I do this 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse thing, they're each going to be their own individual video, but they are run as a full party build when the day is done. Get what I mean? The one meme build was good, no? I thought you really liked that. Yes, sometimes making full party builds can be fun, but the actual process of making the videos is it's a bit more of a pain. That's all. Yeah, and that's another thing. Sean Hansen's got a good point there. If you really want the Transmuter Stone, just have a second wizard in camp. But, I don't know. Parties are meant to be modular. True. Oh, yes, the, what is it called? The Fortunate Four. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. But I don't like doing full party builds all the time, which is why sometimes, it was like the other week when it was like, I was supposed to do a full party build, but I ended up doing the Alan Wake build instead, because I was just like, I don't feel like doing it. That's basically why I came up. But yeah, that's kind of my thing. So I'm personally leaning more towards evocation for this build, but obviously the other variants are there, and I will bring that up in the video. So I'm definitely thinking, I'm just going to put this into the document now. We're going to do Kereska. We're going to do a, they're going to be a Draconic 1 white mixed with evocation wizard. Yeah, but then there's other options as well. I'm going to play a gold dragonborn. That's just for the purposes of the video. And then the weapon is obviously going to be the Markaheshkir staff for Kereska's favour. And I don't know if there's anything else as far as like specific armor or other pieces of equipment are concerned. Again, I like to do that stuff off stream if I can help it, just because it's a bit easier for me to work that out. Obviously, it takes too long on stream. But, you know. The 4-member hobo party I'm showcasing keeps swapping out members. Oh, yeah? Yeah, there's lots of different builds you can use. This one also is one that I feel like would work with shields, but we don't get proficiency in them. That's true. A shield would be nice here, but yeah, not getting the proficiency does suck. I mean, if we picked a different race, we could get shield proficiency. I think humans get it naturally. But going out of our way for it, I mean, the shield is shielding. Always loved this name. For an extra casting a shield, I believe it's once per... Is it once per... Yeah, it's once per long rest. So it's not that great, but... You can also get a version that has, like, the ice fire shield. But I don't think it's necessary for the build. A barbarian or two-handed fighter that somehow freezes enemies. Yeah, you want... Yeah, for that one, JP, you want the encrusted gear, for sure. Because... Because basically, yeah, encrusted with frost is really, really good, because it basically just lets you build up disadvantage on dex saves, which is great. And it's removed by burning, not fire damage. There's an important distinction to make there. If you inflict the burning condition, encrusted with frost goes away, but you can still do fire damage, which makes fire and ice builds a bit nicer. But you also get a 1d4 of cold damage when the charges are built up, and then they're frozen, meaning you get like a big attack on them, which is great. There's a couple of ways of getting that, and Frosted Dark Winter. I could even see you dual wielding, like either the Markaheshkir staff or the Morning Frost in the offhand, and a main weapon in the other. That's just my opinion. Anyways, I think we've got a pretty solid build for Kereska here. I think at least from a character standpoint, I think I've captured everything that I want to capture in this build. I think we get access to all the spells we want. I think we've got really powerful features. I think we've got a lot of the proper theme, and I think if I take the time to make the equipment work, I think it'll be a really interesting build. I think having different equipment for each element and focusing on the status that's related to it is going to be really, really fun to do from my perspective. So that's what I'm going to do. Which race are we thinking of? Hi, David. We're definitely doing Dragonborn. 100%. Yeah, if you wanted to go with a shield on this build, you could absolutely just go for that 1-level dipper Cleric like we talked about before. I think if you want to go for the more defensive variant, pick up that Tempest Cleric Domain dip, grab a shield, grab Sanctuary, and play Abjura. That's like a different build, though. That's not what this build is. That's a different build. For sure. Chromatic Orb. Sorry, I know that's a typo, but Chronic Orb is kind of funny. Yes, and Glyph of Warding as well. Both really, really good spells. But yeah, I think we've got this. I'm going to make it so there's different equipment for each element. Yeah, there we go. I think we've got this. I personally think, like... I think this is going to be a really, really fun one. In my personal opinion. I actually think I'm really going to enjoy doing this one. For sure. I'm just kind of organizing my document really quickly, if you guys would just give me a second. Yeah, I find it interesting that if you just do Kereska, nothing comes up. Unless I spelt it wrong. Yeah, that's because I spelled it wrong. Whoops. Kereska, not Kereska. Yeah, so we want fire, cold, lightning. Alright, I'm sorry if I'm not looking at chat as much today. I'm trying to make this stream flow a bit better than my usual Deity Build streams. Because sometimes there's a lot of pausing and like deliberating usually, but I'm definitely thinking that I'm just trying to keep the flow a bit better while still trying to be engaging. Chronic Orb just gets them high. Chronic Glyph of Constipation. Defeat your enemies by giving them lethargy and the munchies. Hi, Pathetic. Just keep the fire and ice elements focusing on different enemies. Yeah. Let me see. Hi, Isra. What deities are we building today? We've just pretty much wrapped up Kereska, and we're going to do Cyric next, I think. I think Cyric is going to be an interesting one. Thunder equipment, and then we want acid... and poison. There you go. Cool. I think that's going to be a really, really fun video to make. I'm looking forward to doing that one. What build are you crafting right now? We've just finished a Kereska deity build. Draconic, elemental blaster caster type deal. We're going to move on to... the next deity on our list, which is, if you'll give me a second, Cyric. Which is an interesting one. I think people are going to like this one. Let me pull up the Forgotten Realms wiki page on him too. So we'll quickly read the description here on the wiki. Immediately Mage Slayer feat on Cyric. I'm not 100% familiar with Cyric, but we'll see why. Chronic Orb is the old name for Ray of Enfeeblement. I should do a build around that spell one day. Anyways, Cyric, the god of lies, trickery, and strife, chaotic evil. Domain is trickery. Known as the Prince of Lies, Cyric previously held dominion over tyranny, murder, lies, intrigue, and illusion, and has a storied rivalry with Mystra. So we've gone from someone who is an ally to Mystra to someone who is directly opposed. Love it when things work out like that. Yeah, obviously he killed Mystra. Yeah, that is the one big thing that I know. Bloody hell, is that the Joker? No, not quite. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be that guy. Cyric is a featured article. It is one of the best articles created in the Forgotten Realms wiki community. Well, looks like we've got a lot to look at. This will be a fun one. Like, where the Kereska one was quite quick, we can kind of take our time with this one, because I understand this one has a lot more going on. Yes, Hobo, check your DMs. I will. Give me 1 second. Cyric, originally got all of Bane, Merkel, and Bol's power? Yes, when I was researching the Jergal build, I really wanted to, yeah, when I was researching the Jergal build, I saw, Cyric stuff. Like then. So I know a little bit. What's this one? Hey, I was thinking a Cleric Rogue could work. Okay, sorry, this is the DM I was sent. Thinking of Holy Assassin Infiltrator like the Shikas, like a Cleric of Cyric. Oh, I see. So you guys were already talking about this before. Right, I see. So you guys... Looks like people in the Discord were already discussing this. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how many people are in the chat from that discussion. Looks like it was Dex and Voltage and EP. So if anybody's here that was kind of part of that discussion, please let me know. But thank you for sending me that way. Like Arcane Trickster Assassin and do something with how he is the one supplying AOS followers with divine power. Okay. Well, I don't know anything really about Cyric yet, so let's do some reading and see what we can come up with based on that. Because I would like to quite do a stealthy roguish build, actually, if I can, because I've not done that in a while. Anyways, Cyric, known as, I'm not pronouncing that, by his Gugari worshippers, and as Nasar by Bedin, oh god, these are so many names I'm not going to be able to pronounce, was the monomaniacal Faerunian god of lies, trickery, and strife, having previously held dominion over tyranny. Yeah, we already read that. It was the unholy radiance of the dark sun that drew power from hungry mortals to their exhonorable deaths, like moths to a flame. The fuck's the dark sun? What is that? Whatever it is, it's what the build's being named. It's being named the Dark Sun. I'm putting that in the document right now. Yeah. That's one of his titles. I see. Okay. Google Dark Sun D&D. Yeah, I'll do that quickly. As long as it doesn't show like a butthole or something. Oh, it's actually a campaign. Oh, that's cool. Actually, I like that. That's actually sick. I might read a bit more into that later, but let's focus more on Cyric for now. Let's see. Dark Sun drew power from hungry mortals and their exhonorable deaths like lost to a flame. And it was the Prince of Lies who murdered Mystra and caused the Spell Plague, throwing the cosmos into turmoil in an act that cost him much of his following. If I remember correctly, isn't the Spell Plague that thing that like everybody hated when it was like in circulation and in production actively in the books? Am I remembering that correctly? I hear a lot of people say not very good things. It's a rough world, very wastelandish. Dark Sun is basically the Mad Max version of D&D. It's got slavery and sadness and elementalism. Oh, jeez. We don't talk about the Spell Plague. Plague. Oh, no. No gods in the Dark Sun setting. Interesting. Okay. Yes, it was low magic. I guess that makes sense with a name like Spell Plague. Or are you talking about Dark Sun? Huh. Right, okay, Dark Sun was a separate... Okay, so they're a completely separate thing anyway. It looks cool, but... Anyways, never mind. If I can destroy the love of gods, I can certainly fill the lives of Faerun's mortals with strife and discord. Okay. Right. As a mortal man... Started off as a mortal. Okay. As a mortal man, Cyric had a lean, athletic build. His dark brown hair outlined a face at sharp angles. Okay, yeah, I don't really care about what he looks like. On first becoming a god, Cyric's avatar took on a similar appearance. With his ghastly pale skin and intense dark eyes, he exhibited human mannerisms and was often prone to wriggling and squirming when he became anxious or impatient. I mean, so he had ADHD? I mean, sounds like it. But Dark Sun still has no 5e sourcebook. Huh. But we can sing about the Spell Plague. I think I know what that's a reference to. Because of psionics in 5e, there's no such thing, sadly. Right. Anyways, back to this. But after a decade of godhood, Cyric's avatar began to more reflect the horrific nature of his character. I'm going to sneeze. Muted it just in time. Cyric's avatar began to reflect the horrific nature of his character. His face went so gaunt that it resembled a skull, and the skin wrapped around tightly round cords of muscle turned red. Cyric's eyes appeared as small flames within his skull. His teeth turned crooked and yellowed. Oh, God. Okay, so basically, he went full on madness. Ooh. Skeletal visage and bony hands were scarred and scorched by the flaming souls of his wretched faithful. Unlike before, these wounds could not be hidden by any form of means. Do you know what this reminds me of? Because, I mean, I've just been playing a lot of Elden Ring lately because of the DLC. This reminds me of the whole, like, Frenzied Flame madness thing from Elden Ring. I don't know if you guys ever played Elden Ring. Some of you have, some of you haven't, I know. But there's basically this whole subset of, like, magic and, like, this one, like, kind of godly being that's kind of known for, like, madness and, like, yellow flame. And, like, in the DLC, there is, like, a boss based on it that kind of matches this description really well. And I'm honestly wondering if, like, the people who wrote the like, that kind of aspect, I don't know if it was, Martin or Miyazaki or who, I wonder if they took inspiration from this, because this actually sounds very familiar. You're playing it right now? Are you playing the DLC, Ben? It's good, right? Yeah, the three fingers. Yeah, exactly. But I'll just say there's a bit more to it in the DLC. No spoilers. There's a bit more to it than just them. Right. Personality. I mean, we can kind of guess. In life, Cyric was a petty and selfish man that believed everyone was truly alone in life. Placing trust in others was folly that could only end in suffering or, in all likelihood, death. Interesting. While he occasionally acted in the interest of others, and once famously rallied for Dalesfolk in a terrific battle, Cyric was unfortunately overcome by the worst aspects of his nature. This is a very kind of interesting character. Because now I'm almost thinking, like, do I try and make this a solo build? Which I've never done. But maybe that's leaning too far into that one block of text for a whole build. Who knows? Cyric the Cynic, yeah. Cyric's selfishness, inability to cope with intense feelings, and unwillingness to rely upon others for support led Cyric to isolate and withdraw himself from the people that actually cared for him. As a result, Cyric suffered and languished in a state of inner turmoil. His earnest but malnourished desire to do right by others remained at odds with his sense of self-preservation and a yearning to prove himself by appearing powerful. I'm actually just kind of getting sad now. This is a very tragic character. Cyric's experiences as an adventurer accentuated the darker aspects of his persona, namely his perverse fascination with killing, the ease of which he spoke half-truths, and his inclination to incite fear in others, the urge for bloodlust he harbored, and the pleasure he felt when exerting dominance over the weak. The worst aspects of Cyric's humanity were only magnified when he ascended to divinity. And I'm seeing that's where Bull comes in, right? Wow. I'm really liking this guy just in general. I mean, this build is... I'm going to put this in the document now. This build is a Dark Urge. 100%. It is a Dark Urge. Like, it just has to be. There's no... I know some of you were saying that earlier. Well, that's really interesting, but I didn't know that about Frenzy Flame. That's actually really cool. Dark Urge old style pre-Bull. I almost feel like this guy could have been like... Maybe I just don't know about enough D&D lore. This is just me looking. But I think this guy could almost be the original Dark Urge. Like, in, like, that kind of, like, character. Like, he could have been the original, right? Hey, Vlad, good to have you here. That's interesting. So, let's keep reading, because otherwise I'm going to get distracted. As the youngest god of the Faerunian pantheon, Cyric's self-absorption led him often acting like a child. He was irrationally impatient and became restless and moody. When things didn't go his way or fast enough for his liking, he formed petty, nasty, and sexist nicknames for the other gods, as he insisted that courtiers and divine court would only refer to him as such. In truth, Cyric was terrified of the other powers, and was even put ill at ease by some demi-powers, to the point where he became crippled with paranoia. During his descent into madness, Cyric unpredictably and erratic behavior became much worse. He was overtaken
with a myriad of delusions and countless voices in his mind. Excuse me. That some speculated were remnants of the gods he had slain. He would fantasize horrors that would be inflicted. God, I'm hiccuping now. Ah, it's not good. Yeah. Basically, he's just absolutely insane, which is awesome. I see. Okay, so there is, like, roots in, like... Oh, that's interesting, actually, Ben. And Vlad as well. I'm enjoying that conversation. I am reading that conversation you guys are having about the Elden Ring inspirations, but I'm mainly focusing on this. It's in my mind, though. For a time, Cyric was amongst the most powerful deities in the Pharonian pantheon, having taken at least partial portfolios of 5 different deities. Yeah, he drew as much of his own power from the constant infighting, right? Cyric's avatar was entirely immune to the effects of illusion, charm, fear-inducing, and other emotion-altering magic, and was always ignored by undead beings. He can inflict madness upon others with his mere touch. Okay, so we want Crown of Madness, and we want resistance against psychic in some way, like psychic effects, which we can definitely get. There's some equipment there. Okay, cool. We're gonna go with that. Because I think Arcane Trickster can get Crown of Madness, just not until very late. At times preferring, he could choose any form he wished, at times preferring those of a terrible spider or the visions of a skull. Cyric's divine powers were amplified when on Pandemonium, the plane of pure chaos. For a brief time, Cyric was stripped away of any of all magical powers by Mistral when she refused to grant him access to the Weave. Yeah, this guy would hate Gale. When he appeared as a manifestation, Cyric preferred to take on the appearance of a wraith that he haunted with the dreams of mortals, or that of the poisonous cloud of smoke. When he couldn't be bothered to appear himself, Cyric merely created nightmares of undead in the psyche of his victims. I can see Arcane Trickster Bard, which is a combination I don't think I've ever done, but I think I can make it work. More levels in Arcane Trickster, specifically because I want higher sneak attack damage, but we'll see. Wait, what Magnus... What comment did I make, Mine? He once wielded a god as a weapon. Jeez. Anyways. As an adventurer, Cyric kept an array of weapons and handy magical items. He kept on his person several daggers, a hand axe, both long and short swords, and a longbow with a quiver of arrows. At times he wore a suit of plate mail, and at others he shrouded himself with a cloak of displacement. Okay. Definitely leaning into the rogue a bit more with kind of all of that sort of equipment. So we're going to want a bow, but maybe we're probably going to want long or short swords. Probably not plate mail for going rogue, specifically. Cyric's throne room within his divine realm was a monument to his victories. It housed twisted trophies that besmirched other gods and degraded their followers, including a painting of a Denarian faithful, the pigment of which was made of... Good God, man. This is a crazy stuff. But you know what I actually think a Chosen of Cyric would do? As like maybe like a kind of lore like sub-quest for anyone who plays this build? Steal as many items related to the other deities as possible. I'm talking like Silvanus' amulet, the idol of Silvanus from the Druid Grove. Steal Falar Aluv. Steal the stuff from the Church of the Wave Mother in Act 3. Just steal as many deity-related objects as you can. Like, basically go through my deity build to get all the actual, like, weapons and equipment from those deities from the build, and just hoard them like a freaking... like a hoarder, basically. Yeah, that could be really fun. In his final months as a mortal in the first decade as a god, Cyric wielded a sentient short sword, Godsbane. He was completely enamored with the sword and revered her as his most prized possession and dearest companion. Cyric nourished her with the blood of the powerful and the innocent. Godsbane was in fact a transformed sentience of Mask, or god of illusions, while in Cyric's possession. Oh, this is when you guys were talking about wielding a god as a weapon. Mask cooed in Cyric's ear, fulfilling the role of his lover and enabled the worst of his delusions and twisted schemes. Jesus. Then he got a +5 longsword after that. Right. I'm just kind of, because this is very long, just kind of making sure. Wait, hang on. Hello. Relationship with mortals. While operating in the Thieves Guild of the Zental Keep, Cyric was instructed by a ruthless mentor named Merrick. Cyric maintained an acquaintance. So he was part of the Is Zental and Zentarim, are they like the same sort of thing? So that, again, this is a rogue build. Absolutely. Divine Foes. Yeah. He held particular loathing for Mistra, Kalemvor, and Bane. That's interesting. That's interesting. Okay. Right. Cyric drew the ire of Ogma. Yeah, so most gods hate this guy. Obviously, Jergal had something to do with him. I know that already from the Jergal deity build. Lol, the shapeshifter god was named. Mask. How original, yeah. Bane had too much trip. Worshippers. Here we go. This is more what I'm looking for. Even before godhood, Cyric had attracted a zealous contingent of Zed warriors called the Company of the Scorpions. Ooh. That devoted themselves to his cause. Maybe I'm calling this like the Scorpion or something. That could be a fun name. They followed Cyric during his quest to retrieve the Tablets of Fate and cast aside their loyalties to their former employers and home realms. But while Cyric did spare them from inadvertent death, he only travelled with them so long as they proved useful and completely abandoned them afterwards. And here we go, the Church of Cyric. The Cyricist Church was hated across Toril with good reason. Cyric's church was pledged to spread strife and work murder everywhere in order to make folk believe and fear in the Dark Sun. It supported cruel rulers and indulged and fostered fear and intrigue while avoiding the spread of outright war. The church was often beset by internal feuds and backstabbing for some time before eventually waning. Many outside of the church viewed it as a twisted den of madness, trickery, and death. Cyricist, I'm going to call it Cyricist, I don't know why. Clergy condemned this outlook, preferring to see all the religion as one enlightenment. Yeah. It purportedly revealed that all societal bonds of friendship, family, and love were nothing but ties that always withered away, and were therefore useless and weak and pitiful. Yeah, often trained as rogues or assassins, and his speciality priests were known as strife leaders. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Prophetic. Get over here. Yeah, I feel like it would be almost a bit clickbaity. If I called it the Scorpion. Maybe. We'll see. Wait. I just want to make sure I'm... What is the actual definition? Hold on. I just want to make sure I'm getting this exactly right. Ooh, I like the name for the builds as the Apostle of the Dark Sun. That sounds badass. That almost sounds like a FromSoft boss. Yeah, so they specifically trained as rogues or assassins. So yeah, absolutely a rogue build. Speciality priests were known as strife leaders. Ooh, hang on, there's something there. They celebrated a few holy days and did not acknowledge the date of his ascension to divinity because it would coincide with that of midnight. Whenever a temple acquired something or someone important enough to be sacrificed, its high priest declared the day of the dark sun to signify the holiness of the event. Eclipses were considered holy occasions, were accompanied by feasts, fervent prayers, and bloody sacrifices. Was a strife leader. As expected, they were adept at lying to others, even in the face of spells. Were adept at seeing through illusion magic. Many of them were skilled in the utilization of various poisons. Okay. Maybe I'll throw some poison into this build as well, like a poison rogue. That could be really fun, which I don't think I've ever done before. Weirdly enough. Okay. Interesting. Okay. I think I've read enough. I'm kind of, like, glossing over this stuff here. Like, I'm kind of, oh, here, hang on, actually. There's something interesting here. In addition to the worship Cyric claimed during his ascension, he also garnered those of the Larian faith after slaying the Lady of Deception. Cyric's faith also spread across some unlikely groups, including the insular bedding people of Anarok, I'm Tethian cultists of Ao, some of their more malevolent tieflings of the realms, and renegade Githyanki that forwent worship of the Lich Queen. That's giving me some ideas. Just saying. Yeah, it is Cyric time. Hi, Kirk. Good to have you here. Yeah, we're doing Cyric now. We've done Kereska already, but now we're moving on to Cyric, and there is a lot of required reading. Isn't there a mod that fixes Trickery Cleric? What exactly is there to be fixed, Quay, out of curiosity? Because fixing and just making something a bit better are two very different things. But I think... Oh my god, there's more. That's more about Cyric himself. I'm not too worried. Like, we've read a lot about him already. Oh, yeah, this is more about, like, the stuff that happened, I think, in the books related to him. I think I've more got the general essence of Cyric down, as well as what his followers kind of lean towards. So I'm happy to go over to the build side of things now. I think, at least. So, let's do that. Their abilities literally don't work right in-game, like their stealth abilities. Okay, interesting. You should have read the half-dozen novels with him in it first. I don't get time for that. I mean, I'm finding time for little things in my life. I don't know if I've ever told you guys this, but I've been learning the ocarina because I'm a fucking nerd. I learned like basic like sheet music reading, like, and I have a general idea of how it works, but I'm still learning to actually put my fingers in the right positions to play it. Yeah. I learned Ode to Joy, at least the first little bit of it, just to kind of teach myself sight reading and such like that. I'm learning a little bit. That's something I found a little bit of time for. But I don't really have time to like do massive amounts of reading anymore, which sucks. Because I actually have the full collection of like the Witcher books just on my shelf, and I've read the first one, but I've not started the second one yet. I need to. You play on a musical instrument? I'm learning to. I used to play the baritone back in school as part of the school's band, but I need to kind of reacquaint myself with music, but I'm learning to play the ocarina. My friend would be really excited about that. She loves the Zelda games. I loved the sound of the ocarina when I first heard it in Zelda, and that's kind of what... And I've wanted to give it a try ever since I was like 10. And then after my father passed away, I was like, you know what? Life is too short not to try the silly little things that you have in mind. So I got like the kind of recommended like starter ocarina, the Night by Noble off of Amazon, that everyone kind of recommended to try, like all the experts did, and I've kind of been learning. But I'm having to relearn like the fundamentals of music. Hold on, I'm not even actually sure. I don't know if the microphone will pick it up. Hang on, let me move it away a bit. That's kind of what it sounds like. And then if you kind of do... That's kind of what it sounds like. I don't know if you guys could hear that. It probably sounded awful. But that's kind of, yeah, I'm just kind of learning. Just to prove that I actually have it here. Sorry to hear about your father's passing. Oh, it was... God, was it already a month ago? Yeah, it was over a month ago now. It was on the 18th of May that he passed. But yeah, no, I'm alright. The UA6 version of Invoke Duplicity fixes Trickery Cleric? Okay. I've been reading a little bit about the new changes. I'm getting so far off track here. We're doing Cyric. This is what happens. I get so far off track. Oh, so sorry, dude. No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I've discussed it before on the Discord, and it's fine. I don't want to say I'm over it. That's not the right word to use because that sounds really cruel. But it's not like a massive focal point of my everyday life anymore. It was, but a month has kind of been enough time for it to pass, at least for me. So don't worry about it. No need to mention it anymore. So, absolutely going with Rogue, 100%. I'm really liking the idea of a poison rogue that's all about deceit, trickery, and lies. So a high charisma rogue, maybe a bit of bard in there, specifically to get access to things like, where is it? Crown of Madness and such like that. Definitely want Crown of Madness. That is going to be a cornerstone of this build, at least in my opinion. In fact, I would say that's probably going to be our main thing we concentrate on, at least most of the time. With poison being a big thing as well, in my opinion. I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm going over like lies and deceit and trickery with a bit of poison tipped on the blade, and we're dark courage and we're edgy and like, you know, super stealthy. And then I look over to the chat and it's like basically a farting rogue.
Guys! Why?
Make him fart Cloud Kill. We're going to be using Cloud Kill on the Kereska build. So, and I kind of want to focus on this more being a pure rogue with a little bit of spellcasting. So honestly, Arcane Trickster might do the job. In fact, Arcane Trickster does get Crown of Madness. Yes. But not until level 7. But then we would still get it. So, is it worth just doing a... Because I actually kind of like the idea. Now, hear me out on this. You guys remember when I did the Investigator build, the Call of Cthulhu inspired one, where I basically said that, because that one was an Arcane Trickster too, but I kind of like flavored the leveling scheme for that one as somebody who starts off normal but slowly comes into new powers which slowly kind of drive them mad, a bit like a Call of Cthulhu Investigator, just tweaked for D&D. We could almost do a similar thing here. Just going with Arcane Rogue, which gives us a lot of like skill, proficiencies, and expertise, which is great for the God of Lies and such like that. But as we go further and further in the Arcane Trickster levels, we gain more abilities. We get the main Enchant Ledger domain, then we get access to illusion and enchantment spells, eventually getting access to the full Crown of Madness spell. And that kind of also represents Cyric's, like, kind of descent into madness from being a mortal to a god. Maybe? And then staying in a single class would also give us access to high-level sneak attack damage. We can do some darkness shenanigans if we want to gain advantage and stuff like that. We could get poison things from, like, maybe the Broodmother's Revenge and such like that. Maybe this build is a pure Arcane Trickster. Something I've never done before. Which could be extremely fun. We'd get 3 level 2 spell slots. Admittedly, not a lot, but it's enough to get the job done in individual encounters maybe. Again, mostly focusing on the stealthy aspect. I kind of like it. What loud rip? I didn't fart. What are you talking about? Everyone's talking about a fart. Yeah. Sounds good. I had a concept for a rogue discovering sorceress powers. Yeah. Hi, Lelo. Good to have you in the stream. Does the character try and convince other people they're the gas culprit? Stop! Okay. Listen up, guys. Listen up. Okay? There's been a lot of things that go on in these streams, alright? We had the Shar stream, which was its own thing. Okay? You guys were very much misbehaving during that one, okay? Right? And we've had a few little laughs and little giggles ever since then, okay? We're not getting into farting. Understand? We're not getting into it. We're not. Because I know it's only going to take a little bit of time for you guys to go, haha, fart, funny, haha, fart, and then be like, I like sniffing farts. I know one of you is. One of you's going to do it. Don't. That is going to get taken out of context, isn't it? Why did I say that? Nobody clip that. Nobody. YouTube doesn't even have clipping. Don't check. I always tell the truth. Thornblade, Broodmother, Poisonous Gloves, Derivation Cloak. Yes, Derivation Cloak especially. Yes, I agree, Kirk. Let's get back on track. Pure Arcane Trickster might be fun. I've been trying to figure out how to make that work. I think we can make it work. I think we can. This is my first time here. I'm innocent. Apologies, Lel. Apologies that you just heard me do that. As long as it's not Vorai saying anything. I'm chuckling. Someone mentioned goo after... No, Ben! Oh, and... No, it's not, please. I can see when people clip things. Don't. Don't you dare. I think like 10 people left after I said that. I'm sorry, that's too funny. Oh my god. No, no. I think like 10 people left the stream when I said that. I just looked over at the stream count and it just went boom. I am so sorry. Okay. Back on track. Hi, Mike. Oh, God. You only get this sort of thing on streams, man. I'm way more curated in videos. You know what? I like the Arcane Trickster vibe for this build. I think I'm going to go with a pure Arcane Trickster. Focusing on poison. Because Arcane Trickster, again, we get the skill proficiencies, we get the expertise. I'm not looking at the chat right now. I think it's actually an interesting thing to focus on. And I can throw the charisma in there. The only thing is it's going to be, we obviously want high charisma at the same time as we're also going to want intelligence for the spell save DC. I'll have to work that one out. I could see arcane acuity equipment coming into play here, perhaps, to maybe make that work. Perhaps warped headband of intellect. Don't know. I'll figure that one out. I mean, pure Arcane Trickster already works, it's just not OP, so... Yeah, exactly, Kirk. I agree. I absolutely agree. Vlad, I'm going to take your word for it on that one. Do you remember when you asked about a... Yeah, Tilia, I do remember that. Okay. Do I tell that story? Ilya, do I tell that story? I don't want people to think less of me if I tell that... Do I tell that story on stream? I don't think I should. I don't think I should. Up to me. You know what? I think we're just going to move past that one. It can't get worse. It might. Sorry, Quay. No, I'm going to leave that one. Oh. I'm not going to tell that story. No, I'm not. It's not as bad, I think, as people think it is, but I'm going to stop. I'm not going to tell it. Right, so yeah, I actually quite like pure Arcane Trickster. You know what? I'm going to go with it. I really like it. I think there's a way we can make it work. 3 feats is great. And we could do some funky stuff with, like, maybe longsword. Because Cyric used a longsword, actually. Oh, you know what we could do? We could make it, like, those kind of, like, solo like, kind of, like, roguish one-shot builds. Because there's, like, a thing you can do with, like, Great Weapon Master and, like, Sneak Attack and all that sort of thing. Maybe we could go for, like, a longsword with Great Weapon Master to get, like, massive Sneak Attack damage and then also have the ability to use the spells as well. Yeah, 4 feats. Yeah. Can Mage Hand throw a javelin? Maybe. Yeah, that's the other thing. We could do Mage Hand shenanigans with this. And in fact, the Mage Hand I actually like for this build, because if we're doing like a poison build, that kind of implies the like alchemy side of things as well. So you could use the alchemy with this build, make like grenades and such, and have the Mage Hand throw them. That's kind of chaotic, isn't it? Could be fun. Yeah, 4 feats is also really, really good for this build. Loviatar's Wrath would go hard with Dex-based Great Weapon Master. Yes, it would. I like that. I like that a lot. We get it very early on. It's a +1 weapon, but we can fix that with the Drakefruit Glaive. Maybe giving it... probably not. Well, we could just give it extra damage. Do not use thrown weapons that come back with the Mage Hand because they'll disappear. Yes, I do know about that bug. Definitely get Mage Slayer. Yeah, I actually think because with 4 feats, it would be on theme to pick up Mage Slayer. I can actually see that. But yeah, I'm going to go for Loviatar's Wrath. Bumped up with the Drakefruit Glaive just because it's going to need it. Just because the +1 longsword in that. Yeah. Definitely maybe go for Great Weapon Master just for the big sneak attack damage. Because Cyric used a longsword. That was kind of like his final weapon that he landed on. So it is actually part of the build. I'll put Mage Slayer as optional though, because I don't think it's a cornerstone, but we'll see. I like that actually. We don't, yeah, and then for poison damage, we also have access to things like, let's have a look. Well, obviously the Broodmother's Revenge, probably going to want that. Mix that with, can we get Poison Mist from the Arcane spell list, from the Arcane Trickster spell list as well? Oh no, that's not poison. That's a different thing. Yeah, we'll want Broodmother's Revenge, most likely. Which means I'll probably be combining that with the Ring of Regeneration. Yeah. I'm going to say it's like a decent build as well. Yeah, the only thing is going to be the stat allocation. We could probably go with like a base level of 12 charisma just from the starting thing, and then that will probably be enough with the expertise. So obviously I want high charisma on this build. That's like for lies and deceit. That's like the whole point. I'm just going to double check what Mage Slayer actually does to see if maybe there's something interesting I can build around there. Yeah, here we are, Mage Slayer. Mage Slayer, saving throw. When a creature casts a spell within melee range of you, you have advantage on any saving throws against it. That actually works for Cyric's resistance to fear and charm, because that's another thing I want to capture. Is that. So that actually works. You can use a reaction to immediately make an attack against a caster if it casts a spell within a certain distance of you. Yep. And enemies you hit have disadvantage on concentration saving throws. Honestly, I like Mage Slayer here because it actually really fits thematically. So Great Weapon Master and Mage Slayer on an Arcane Trickster build. That's actually really fun. I like that a lot. It's like anti-magic, which goes against like the whole going against Mistra thing. I like that actually. You mostly use Mage Hand to deal with those eagle statues underground. Yeah, Mage Hand has a ton of uses, but the Mage Hand Ledger Domain specifically has a lot of utility with the alchemy side of things, which again, if we're going for like this poisoner vibe as well, really fits. Did an Inquisitor build that was Sork 1, Pally 6, Arcane Trickster 5 as a Dex Great Weapon Master build. That sounds cool, actually. Yeah, yes, the off-turn sneak attack trigger. Yeah, that's also really good. Yeah, I know we need int for the spells, but I can make that work with the stat allocation pretty easily. I know. Trust me, I know. You can make it work. Do we also get Chromatic Orb as an Arcane Trickster? I don't... Yes, we do. So we can actually get a poison ranged attack as well. That could be fun. Ray of Sickness. Do we also get that on the Arcane Trickster? Yes, because we get stuff from the wizard list. Right. So there's stuff to be done there as well. Crown of Madness will pick up from being an Arcane Trickster, so that works. By the way, how am I today? I'm fine, thank you. Happy to be back to streaming. Took a bit of a week. I was having a bit of a rough weekend last weekend, just feeling a bit exhausted. So I took the weekend off last week. And then also my week this week has been pretty busy, which is why the video upload schedule has been all out of order. Because the Wednesday build got delayed, and yesterday's build got delayed to today. So the Silvanus Deity build that we did last time is coming out tonight. Which I think you guys will like. Somebody earlier who was talking about Nature Cleric, I think it was Quay. I used Nature Cleric in that video, so there you go. But yeah, we can definitely make all this work. Yeah, we want the Drakethroat Glaive for its elemental buffing feature, which will be great anyway, because I think... no, we don't get poison off of this one, do we? No, but we can get acid, which is adjacent, so I'll definitely have that, for sure. I'll make a label on that for the acid. There we go. If you did the Pally thing, you could get Oathbreaker, which would still get you Crown of Madness. The Sork level could also get you Poison Cloud and Ray of Sickness too. I see what you mean, actually, Kirk. Yeah, I could see going for that. But I've done... Now, this is me speaking from the YouTube side of things as well, actually. Because I've done Paladin Rogue quite a bit, I think just going with pure Arcane Trickster, from the sense of build making, it's just a bit more interesting. Because not a lot of people really utilize Arcane Trickster, and I'd like to take this opportunity to try and utilize it to the fullest. I could definitely see that being a different build though, Kirk, for sure. But for this one, I want to challenge myself a little bit. Yeah, I know, it's a +3 grave with a d4 of elemental damage. I will do, like, I've done it before. One of my earliest builds, I think it was the Bahamut build? My original Bahamut build? Hold up. I think it was this one. Yeah. Oh, get out of here, you living twat. No, I don't care about your frippin' arse cream or whatever it is. No, advertisements, man. They're getting worse. Yeah, I used the Drakethroat Glaive for its intended purpose on this build. Can I skip this, please? Where's this? There's no skip ad button. God, YouTube's just getting worse and worse, I tell you. But yeah, it was this build that I used the Drakethroat Glaive for its intended purpose. Can I watch the video now? Not that I really want to hear my own voice right now, but I would like to watch the video. That took a while. I do, but this is a private... I do have that Quay, but this is a private browser window. And I do have, like, the basic ad blocker, but, it doesn't seem to be working. Yeah, I used, the Drakethroat Glaive here in this one, I think. I especially don't like watching my older videos. Look, this one's back from September. This was the first month I started doing this, is when this build was from. But yeah, I used the Drakethroat Glaive here, alongside some other Paladin-based equipment. Yeah, and I kind of went for like an elemental paladin with that. So yeah, I've done it before. Does Arcane Trickster mix well with Bard? Yes, but I think you're going to be either using spells from Bard or from Arcane Trickster and not both. You can pick up utility options from Arcane Trickster that don't use your spellcasting ability modifier, and it would work well with Bard. I could see Swords Bard Arcane Trickster working, because Arcane Trickster would still give you additional spell slots, as well as the Mage Hand, which is really, really nice to have on a Bard-type build. I could almost see like a Psychic Song-based build almost coming from that. So yeah, it can work, but I would say probably focus on the Bard spells more, so focus on Charisma over Intelligence, and use your Arcane Trickster spells for utility. Yeah, maybe, Ilya, you got a point. You could also take Moderately Armored for a dex bump and better armor proficiencies. Could give pure Arcane Trickster more of a Cleric field from a proficiency standpoint. I could see that. Because doesn't Moderately Armored give you a boost to your stat as well? Yeah, you can increase strength or dexterity by 1. So if we started with a 17 in dex, we could go with that, actually. It would give you medium armor proficiency as well. But I don't know. I feel like our dex is going to be so high anyway, that light armor will still work. Because I'll probably use the Ballist set for the vulnerability to piercing. Although we're not doing piercing damage because we're using a longsword, so maybe not actually. I'll take that into consideration. I know U-Block Origin works, but again, this window that you're seeing here is a private window, so you guys can't see my personal shit. And I know that's going to get taken out of context as well, so don't you dare. But, yeah. So, I don't know. I'm going to try Pure Arcane Trickster. I mean, we've got 4 feats. I'll talk about various things we can mess around with in the video. And I've got a general idea for what I want this to be. But I think we're good on Cyric. I think I know what I want to do with this. I think we're good on Cyric. Are we all in agreement? I think we're good on Cyric. I think I've got an interesting thing to try with this. And I'm going to give it a go. I'll figure out the rest of the equipment. Maybe I'll lean into like the poison side of things a bit more. Don't know yet. Yeah, probably Elegant Studded Leather would be the best. That shield cast is pretty good. Yeah, I think we're good on Cyric. I think I've got a really interesting lore side of thing for this story. In fact, I'm going to make a note of that on the document, which I don't do nearly enough. Cool. I like it. I think we've got a pretty solid foundation for an interesting build, an interesting video, interesting god. I like it. I like it quite a lot. So, the final non-Dead 3 deity unless I'm missing something, is Gond. Which means it's time for gnomes, which is always fun. I'm 90% sure it's Gond. Because, yeah, we've done... Excluding the Dead 3, we've done every single one. Shar is like a Shadowheart thing. I've deliberately said in the description of this video that I'm kind of leaving that out. So I think the only one left on this list is Gond. I know what you're saying, Kirk, but I just can't, not yet, not until the official mod support comes out. Which, I'm a little bit worried about that still, just because it looks like official... Because the thing is with console mods, and which is what's going to allow me to do modded builds through Larian's storefront, mod.io, is that they specifically made a statement that I think a lot of people glossed over in their initial reading when they kind of announced how it was going to work. And they did mention that Wizards of the Coast licensed properties may not get approved, because Larian has to manually approve every mod that goes to consoles, right? That's what happens. That's why that system is in place. Because if they just let any console mod on, or any mod onto console, that could cause, well, people to hack consoles in a way. Neither here nor there. But the problem is they did state that Wizards of the Coast may get a bit shitty if official classes are on Larian's official mod front. So I'm worried that things like Artificer and all of that, Hexblade, whatever, might not actually come to consoles. In which case people are going to have to get a bit creative and kind of make their own versions of them that skirt around the official namings to get them submitted. So I might not actually be able to do modded builds with official 5e content. For PC, yes, but for consoles, no. And in which case, if modded builds kind of get into the swing of things, and we do have access to, like, fun extra classes and such like that I can use for consoles as well, I will. But maybe I could also do modded builds that focus on 5e classes as well, and just kind of do them as like a, hey, this is a BG3 and D&D tabletop build, which I used to do, but then stopped because they weren't doing well. But maybe they'll do better now. Yeah, it will only be generic mods. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's only going to be, like, non-5e stuff, which sucks. It's not Artificer, it's Magitech. Don't. Just calling it the Magitech Inventor class or something could be really fun. At least official modding support will include exporting something as a standalone file, which doesn't need to be approved by Larian. Yes, that's true. Nexus mods will just have their own thing and such like that, but as for getting mods on consoles, it has to go through Larian. Anyways, back to Gond. So, the god of craft, smithing, and inventiveness. Neutral as Gond. Chaotic good as Nebelun. Wait, what? Okay, there's something going on there. Check that out in a minute. Associated domains, Forge as Gond, and knowledge and trickery as Nebelun. Okay, we've got something interesting to work with already. The Lord of all Smiths has many forms and names. And under all of them, pushed for innovation and imaginativeness, sometimes to a dangerous degree. As a result of his short-sighted desire to create, Gond was also known as Nebelun among gnomes of the realms, who venerated him alongside the other lords of the Golden Hills, the gnome pantheon. Interesting. Okay. I'm already into this. Let's have a look at Gond, shall we? Gond! Oh, he is a beast. Look at that, man. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Prophetic source material will absolutely be a no-no. Yeah, a modded build for PC build, then here is for console. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love D&D too, but Wizards of the Coast's Hasbro, all that sort of thing. I mean, we've already... I mean, I don't need to dredge up the OGL debacle. We know what Hasbro is capable of. And that means using BG3 as a virtual tabletop. Yay. Oh, Kirk has convinced me, basically, just through being a very, very talented DM, to get me to use Foundry for my own campaigns. I'm going to get myself a Foundry license and run it for my space campaign that I'm planning. That's a dwarf. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about, because it seems like... because Gond is more of a thing about gnomes, but that's a dwarf, isn't it? We'll see. I see a bulky man with red and orange hair, especially in art, and I think of that guy from Frozen. Yoo-hoo! Big summer blowout. I know the exact one you're talking about. My brother used to watch Frozen all the time. It's stuck in my head. Yeah, I know the one you're talking about, Lilo. Yeah. BG3 has graphics, which other VTTs don't. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to read about Gond. Gond! Wait, hold on. Is it Gond? Oh, okay. It can also be pronounced as Gond. Wait, how do you...
Gond.
Gond. That's how you say it in American. Gond. Okay, so what we have here is the American pronunciation, and here's the British one. Bro, I love Foundry so much. I can't wait for you guys to see everything I've been cooking. I've been working on scenes like non-stop. I'm so excited, mate. I'm really looking forward to getting into it. Boss did mention earlier, though, and I do need to get back on that, is I think we still need to do the connections. So hopefully we can get on that soon. I think I've got my basic idea down. My first thought was Hephaestus. Yeah. Anyways. So Gond, and as Zionil on The Shining, this dude has so many names, was the Faerunian god of craft, smithing, and inventiveness. The lord of all smiths had many forms and names, and under all of them pushed for innovation and imaginativeness, sometimes to a dangerous degree, as a result of his short-sighted desire to create. Gond was also known as Nibelin, among gnomes of the realms, who venerated him alongside the other lords of the Golden Hills. Yeah, this is the same thing we read on the BG3 wiki. The 6 secret names of Gond were, in the appropriate order... Oh, Christ. Aranlaris, Bolateng, Deiros, Clanuda, Rangor, I'm going to assume the M is silent, Tataba. Think I got it. I think this build should have some fire spells to imitate the fire of a forge. Yeah. That's actually a good idea. Oh, okay. I didn't actually know that, Ben. That's interesting. A is pronounced as E in Latin? Oh, God. Where did I mess that up? You guys know, I couldn't pronounce Eilestrai. Like, I was making builds about Eilestrai for like a year. I've made multiple, and I still did not know how to pronounce that name for upwards of nearly, like, 7 months. I'm not going to get any of these, okay? Right, let's see. How long is this page? Not too long, but long enough to get some good info out of. Okay, sounds good to me. Oh, we got plenty of time anyway. We've only been streaming for an hour and a half. That's pretty good, actually. Right, so, let's have a look. Avatars of Gond took several forms, including that of a brawny red-hued smith, a short, slight man with straw-blonde hair, or a gnome. There we go. No matter his form, Gond had a forge-scarred face with dark, but nonetheless sharp and bright eyes, and constantly attentive and inquisitive expression. He wore ordinary leathers under his scorched smith smock, though he could also summon a set of glass steel plate armor over himself, hovering close to his body piece by piece rather than actually encasing him at will. Interesting. Gond's manifestations included a forge hammer wrapped with wisps of black smoke, or striking eyes set within dark clouds with ringing sounds of hammer on anvils. Okay, so definitely using a warhammer for the weapon. A warhammer or a great hammer. Some form of hammer, right? Yeah, so we're definitely going to be using a hammer with this build. Although I'm almost tempted to see how close we could get to making Artificer without actually making Artificer, but I could definitely see it having a hammer be kind of the main focus. I almost like the Charge-bound Warhammer here, perhaps, as an option. For Dwarven Thrower, although we're probably not going to be a Dwarf, we'd probably be a Gnome. Hammer of the Just? No, that's a different person. That's a different deity's weapon. There's also the Mauls. So, like, we could go for something like the Foe Breaker or the Corpse Grinder. Those could be pretty good. The best Warhammer is the Thunder one, though? Yeah, so you're thinking of this one, which comes with the ground slam ability. Slam your weapon into the ground, dealing additional thunder damage equal to your proficiency bonus, thunderously impacting nearby foes and possibly pushing them away. I like that, and I also like the fire idea someone came up with earlier for the Forge of the Fire. Maybe like a fire thunder build, because I've never made like something like that before, I don't think. Not something that combines those two elements specifically. Like you've got the heat of the forge and the sound of roaring clanging on the anvil. Shit, that's it. That's what we need. We need a fire thunder build for Gond. That sounds cool. Fire and Thunder, that's perfect. Yeah, I love it. I really like that idea. A Fire Thunder build. Okay. So I can see Corpse Grinder absolutely being our final weapon. Is there like a Thunder Warhammer though? Like a single... Because I almost like the idea of because we're a gnome, right? It's actually just like a regular one-handed Warhammer, but for us it's so big it's a two-handed one. And I kind of like that the Corpse Grinder also has this like mechanical vibe to it, a bit like an Artificer, like through its design. Oh shit, this is gonna be good, man. This is gonna be good. And we can get something like the Faithbreaker as like an early game hammer as well. That'll work. That would actually really work as like an early game option. Yeah, absolutely. Earthquake, yeah! A bit like that, actually, Ezra. That's a good idea. Consider Uko from Finnish Mythos? Oh, look at that. I see that weapon and just think Cannibal Corpse? What do you mean? Sorry, is that like a reference to something? Tempest Cleric / Red Draconic Sorcerer. Okay. I see the vision. I do. I do see the vision. I see what you're going for there. I do see some obvious immediate issues coming up. That being Wisdom and Charisma. But getting the extra fire damage would be nice. I could also see Cleric's thing as well for the Tempest Domain for the Thunder stuff. Yes. Forge Cleric kind of feel. Yeah, I see. The Hammer at Wakeen's Rest. Yes, I know the one you're talking about. The it's this one, the Hammer Haft. Allows you to do extra thunder damage when you jump. So yeah, actually we could go from Hammer Haft to Corpse Grinder pretty easily. Yeah, I see that. I'm actually gonna put that into the document really quickly. 1 second. Just while I kind of concentrate on doing this. Yeah, so yeah, I know what you're talking about, Ben. The gnome is Gond's other form. But the thing is right, all of the references to Gond in Baldur's Gate 3 specifically, so I'm thinking about this from a BG3 player's perspective, it comes from the gnomes, right? It comes from the gnomes that are being captured and enslaved by Gortash, right? Those guys are the ones that are closely related to Gond in the game, so it makes sense to make a gnome here, just for that reason alone. Trying to work out needing multiple stats or a balance is a doozy? Yeah, because the only issue I see coming up with this is, right, these are two-handed strength weapons overall anyway, right? So we need strength. We're also going to need dexterity, because we want initiative AC. Maybe not as much, but we want at least 10 unless we go with heavy armor, which I can see us doing with this build. We need constitution, and then we also need wisdom and charisma. It's very, very, very hard to get until you get to the end game where you can get things like the amulet of greater health. Also, this build is absolutely going to annihilate Walburn Bongle, or whatever his fucking name was. Yeah, and that's the thing. You'd also want intelligence. I think this one's going to be the hardest one to do from a class standpoint. But Dwarven Splint Mail would give us +2 to Constitution. Jason, that's a good idea. Also, aren't there the Nimble Finger... Hold up. Wait a minute. Nimble Finger Gloves plus Dwarven... Oh, come on. Dwarven Splint Mail. That's a +2 to Constitution. that's a +2 to dexterity. Being new to D&D too, you guys are Riddlers or something. Eldritch Knight class Fire Sorcerer could also work. Use the Eldritch Knight spells for buffs so you can basically ignore int. True. That could also work. But yeah, that would give us Constitution. And would look like, and it almost looks like an apron of like someone who works at a forge, like a blacksmith. It almost kind of looks like a metallic blacksmith's apron. Mix that with the Nimble Finger gloves for the additional dex, and the Ogre's Circlet for the int. Maybe. Maybe. If I could actually type, that would be helpful. Giving us a bunch of intelligence as well. Feels like cheating, though. We might not need that. Depending on the stat allocation that I can go with, taking this equipment into mind, we might not need it. The only thing is this is endgame, and this is Act 2. Act 2's fine, but this is endgame. I have to be a bit careful. Feywild Green and Dundon Dye would also give the Dwarven Splint an almost leather-like look. Yes! I'm going to put that down in my notes. I think we've got the armor figured out then, actually. I think the Dwarven Splint Mail basically going to be a necessity. And I'm going to put Dundon in my notes, so I remember to do that. 17 units walkie also might as well have 16. Yes, but how do we get 16 is the question. Getting Brock and Sindri vibes from God of War 4. Yes! I actually agree with that, Ben. That's true. Hi, Liam. Good to have you in the stream. We are looking at a build for Gond, who is kind of like the gnome dwarvish god of like forge and creation. It's the one that the gnomes in Act 3 of BG3 talk about quite a lot, the ones who are being enslaved by Gultesh, so I'm looking to make a gnome build, but taking some dwarven inspiration. Definitely want the Nimble Finger gloves, but I'm going to have to do something else for like an early game option. Maybe the gloves of dexterity until you get the Nimble Finger gloves, maybe? Oh, but then at that point, just use the gloves of dexterity, right? Because our... maybe... Depends on if we want something else or not. Yeah, because at that point, the gloves of dexterity would just be the better option. Because we're not going to have high dex either way, so you might as well just use the gloves of dexterity. Unless we go for the gauntlets of Hill Giant Strength instead, which would give us a maxed out strength score. But then, and then we just boost it up with potions until we get to that point. Maybe, because we could use alchemy in place of being actually able to forge things in this game. Maybe. Hi, Red! Good to have you here! Thank you for coming to stop by and say hello. Yeah, I'm looking forward to later, by the way. Yeah, gloves of dex are just better outside of initiate. What do you need dex for? True. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe the gloves later going to be crazy. Exactly, yeah. There is a dwarven thrower as something smith tool / dwarf inspired. Yes, but you only get the better benefits from that if you're a dwarf, which I think, and this one's going to be a gnome build. How long until Luna ruins golden plans? Yeah. That's true. Sorry, guys, it's a bit of an inside thing, but... Gond is a cool name. Reminds me of the sounds that come with the forge. Yes! I think that's actually maybe part of the inspiration. Always loved the idea of a tiny gnome with the strength of a giant. Yeah. You know what? I can actually see this build using the elixir potions. That actually makes a lot of sense. If we're kind of using alchemy in this build as kind of like a substitute for being able to create things like the forge would, I actually kind of like using the elixirs of giant strength. I agree. I think the elixirs actually make this build. It fixes a lot of the problems that we're trying to go for here. We can focus on the mental stats for what we want to do, using the potions are quite easy to get. And then if you're that worried about it in Act 3, just grab the Gauntlets of Giant Strength. I think I know I don't normally... Yeah. Gnome with an addiction to potions. Yeah, exactly. Like, maybe it's almost like they're... Because, again, remember, there's this part about Gon's character himself, look. That his whole thing is, like, he sometimes creates dangerous things as a result of his short-sighted desire. Maybe that's almost reflected in the fact that this character is just downing potions in order to be strong enough to make things powerful in the Forge. Maybe the whole point is that their gnomish body makes them a bit weaker, perhaps even weaker among other gnomes, and then they have to take these elixirs in order to be able to craft these finely crafted things on the Forge, but it's also being a detriment to their own body at the same time. I like this. It almost reminds me of when I did my, what do you call it? The Pit Fighter, which was my unarmed build without monk levels. You know what? That's what we're doing. That is actually what we're going to do. We're going to use the elixirs in this build, I think, which is going to give us a lot more freedom. I actually really like... And I'm going to put like a little character dossier down here as well, so I know. I like it. I really, really do like this. Also, the fiery explosive blood potion in Act 3. Yes, that's actually a good idea. The Hag's Hair too, if need stats. Yeah, I try to avoid using the Hag's Hair now in my builds, just because, while it is great for optimization, other people could do that when they actually build the build. I don't like to include that so much anymore, because that actually is a character choice. And I do think that could work for this build, but... I don't know. I'm not going to include it in the video specifically unless I feel like it's absolutely necessary. But with the elixirs alone, we have access to way more stat points now, which is great. And if we're going with heavy armor, which I plan to because we're using the Dwarven Splint Mail, we don't need dexterity either. So we can focus on Constitution, Wisdom, and Intelligence, which I think would work. My man is not dealing with his personal horrors. He's downing and chugging. Plus, there is the potion for a permanent +2 to strength. That is true, but that doesn't stack with the elixirs, unfortunately. Whoops. Dwarven Thrower, Disguise Self. I suppose that could actually work, Sim, yeah. But we've kind of already gone for the Hammer Haft because we feel like that, and the Corpse Grinder as weapons for this build, because we feel like that works pretty well thematically. So now I think we've got it. I think, yeah, so we're going to go, we can go for different gloves. We shouldn't need the Warped Headband of Intellect anymore. We are going to use the Dwarven Splint Mail as the armor, because that's also going to help patch up our Constitution, and with the correct coloring, we can make that work for us. As like kind of like a blacksmith's apron, so I'm going to go with that. So the main question is, now that we've got an idea of how this build is going to work from a stat point perspective and how the armor and all that's going to help, we need to figure out the classes. Any items for a Wario build? Other than the money, Morningstar, and being a dwarf? Bone Spike boots for jump distance and being able to jump on enemies and make them prone. Basically Mario game jumping. Probably monk levels to be able to get enhanced movement speed and jumping ability. And maybe the Mighty Cloth, that would give you a +2 to strength, so you can make it a Tavern Brawler monk build, as well as giving you the Bull's Rush ability, which would allow you to do Wario's kind of charging move. Maybe combining that with the charger feat as well, which would give you another way of doing the same thing that's a bit more powerful. And then from there, you could also pick things up like... what else would work for that build? I mean, that's kind of like a basis. You can figure out the rest. Would it be different from your Mario build? Yes, because you would also be focusing on rushing and charging at enemies. So basically kind of making it like a pushing build, because the Wario Land games had that going for them. It was about running, speed, and pushing. So you could totally do that, and then using the money thing would also work. Yeah, I think that's actually a pretty good basis for a build there. With so much pressure being taken off of Strength and Con from gear, I'm back to thinking that Tempest/Red Dragon's Sorcerer would give you the best toolkit for a Gondite. How would you get Cloud Kill? Do we need Cloud Kill on this build? Oh yeah, for the Wario build. How would you get Cloud Kill? Mark your Heshkir staff. There you go. Use the poison version. Use the poison. That's how you get the fart. The waft. Oh, God, why did we go back to that? Never mind. You've got your Wario build. So yeah, if we go to level 6 of Sorcerer, that's going to give us Constitution saving throw proficiency, which would be great. We'd get Mana Magic stuff, and then we'd also get the fire spells, so we could get things like Fireball, Scorching Ray, Chromatic Orb as well, for Thunder and Fire. That would give us, like, and Burning Hands, that could be like our Forge Fire. Going to level 6, that would allow us to add our Charisma modifier to that. We'd also get a bit of Mana Magic. Then, going for Tempest Cleric, to get Wrath of the Storm for Thunder Retaliation. We'd get Heavy Armor and Martial Weapon Proficiency, which works for this build. We would get Thunder Wave, Gust of Wind, Shatter. We'd get Sleet Storm and Cool Lightning. Those are neither here or there. We'd also get Thunderbolt Strike. Whenever you deal Thunder or Lightning that's large, or to a large creature or smaller, you also push it away from you. We could also get Divine Strike Tempest, adding Thunder to our attacks. Ooh. Hi, Boss Top. Good to have you in the stream. I think you're new, unless I'm mistaken. How much multiclassing are you going for? I usually with my builds like to limit it to 2 multiclasses unless there's a 1-level dip that I think is worth it usually. It's very rare that I'll go for 3 or more, but I have done in the past. But I like to stick to around 2. So, but then we wouldn't get Fireball. That's the only thing. I feel like Fireball's pretty important. Maybe not really. We could get the fire. We could even use the Drakefort Glaive to put fire on the Corpse Grinder as well. Then you've got the additional thunder damage from the Corpse Grinder, you've got fire damage, and then you've also got the extra thunder damage from Tempest Cleric as well. From Divine Strike, which could be really good. You'd get fire and thunder spells, you'd get heavy armor and martial weapon proficiencies, so we've got everything that we need. You could do 6/6 to get Fireball and Thunderbolt Strike. Yeah, that's true. I mean, but Divine Strike just being right there feels so tempting, but I definitely see what you're going for. Because again, it depends on, like, do we want more Thunder Power or more Firepower? And we kind of want a balance of both. What about a Spore Druid for Flame Blade? It's not really what we're going for here. It's more we're going for something because we've got, like... Since we're making, like, a kind of almost like Forge Cleric vibe... because we're doing a Gond build, which does fire and thunder damage, we've kind of got like a hammer for like a forge hammer, as well as like having thunder damage built into it, because we're using the Corpse Grinder maul weapon, which does thunder damage. Yeah. Does unequipping the Markiplier staff get rid of the concentration you have on Cloud Kill? I don't actually know. I think unequipping it would get rid of the spell from your kind of hotbar, but I don't think it would end your concentration. I don't think so. Storm of Steel. Yeah, I like that, actually. Heat metal on self and then hug someone? Yeah, I imagine. Thunder has more of that impact feel. Yeah, but I do want the fire stuff, because again, it's like the fire of the forge. That's the point. Unless we don't care that much about the fire aspect and we go for Storm Sorcery instead. Because Storm Sorcery would give us Tempestuous Magic, allowing us to fly. We'd gain extra Thunder damage whenever we cast a Lightning or Thunder spell. And we could also get resistance to Lightning and Thunder. Maybe. Yeah, I guess this is kind of like Iron Man, in a way. If Iron Man was very small. Maelstrom, yeah. I do like the fire idea, though. The fire and thunder. It feels cool, right? It's a combo I've never focused on. Because you could still pick up the fire spells. And I could go for, like, fire equipment as well, to kind of add on to it. It's hard. Very, very hard. Maybe this is something we need to come to a vote on. Like, how much do we want to focus on the fire aspect? How much do we want to focus on the thunder aspect? I love how excited you get about these builds. It brings me joy. There was definitely a time when I was doing this where I kind of lost my passion for this sort of thing, but it's absolutely come back recently. I don't know why. I definitely have more of a passion for it when I'm directly engaging with you guys. I think that's part of it. Why Sorcerer over Evocation Wizard? I think it was mainly because of the elemental affinity bit, as well as the fact that Sorcerer would give us meta magic, which could be really useful, as well as if we go with Draconic, we could also get a couple of extra fun stuff, like a couple of extra bits. And we've already done a wizard build today, so going for Sorcerer seems just changes it up a bit. Fire over Thunder? Yeah. Burning Hands would be cool, yeah, because that's the whole point. But again, we could still just get those things, right? We don't have to be a Fire Draconic Sorcerer to get the fire spells, we can just get them. I can see him burning down metals with his own magic, yeah. It's tricky. So, let's figure out the level split that we want to go for at least. Do we want to go for an 8-4 split to get Divine Strike Tempest? Or do we want to go for a 6-6 split to get at least Thunderbolt Strike, and then something important from Sorcerer, either Elemental Affinity or the Storm Sorcery stuff? So I think I'm leaning towards that, right? What about 3 Light Cleric, 9 Light Cleric, 3 Sorcerer? That's more of a fire and light thing. That's not really what we're going for. I don't know. If you want to pull a Brocken Sentry, go, and it could be 2 people. I don't want this one to be a duo build, I don't think. The Deity build that's going up tonight is also a duo build. Glyph of Warding has a crafting element. Yeah. Oh, where do we pick up Glyph of Warding from? Can we get that? I don't know. I don't think we get it as... Oh, no, we do get it from Cleric, actually. We do. We get it from Cleric. Yeah, you can get Glyph of Warding from Cleric. Oh, see, that's nice as well. You can use electric current to heat metal. Ah. 6-6 is probably best. I vote 6-6, 6-6. Okay, everyone's saying 6-6. So, okay. I'm seeing a 6-6 split. I'm going to lock that in. That seems to be the preference. So it's going to be Sorcerer 6. And I think we've pretty much settled on Tempest Cleric, so I'm going to put that in. Yeah, 6-6. 6-6. Yeah, everyone's saying 6-6. So we're going to go with that. But now the question is, Draconic Bloodline Fire or Storm Sorcery? I'm personally leading towards Draconic Bloodline Fire because I think it is the more interesting build. Because let's be honest, everyone and their mother has done Tempest Cleric Storm Sorcerer. And if people want to change the build to just do Storm Sorcery with fire spells instead, totally can. Nothing's stopping them. I just think it's the more interesting build. You're thinking fire? It seems, yeah, it is Rickanuk, Banana, yeah. I like the fire because Forge, electrical fire, yeah. I personally agree with that. I think it's a much more interesting build overall because we get Burning Hands just from if we wanted to pick red. We could also go for gold for disguise self, which could lean into that thing of using the dwarven thrower if you want to, or brass for sleep. Don't know why you'd do that. And then, yeah, we could add our charisma modifier to the damage. So, yeah, then I just have to make a charisma wisdom build. And we're good. Sean just nicknamed the corpse grinder to the third 6. Cloudkill remains active after unequipping the Marker Heshkir. Warrior... Yeah, oh, that's a cool thing to know. Thank you for testing that, Quay. Enjoy the build. Yeah, you know what? We're doing Draconic Sorcerer, Fire. And that is the leveling scheme. I like it. Plus, with the Fire Sword, there is the Unstable Blood Potion. Yes, I'm actually going to put that in. Yeah, there we go. I think we've got a really interesting build here. Genuinely, I do. I think the Fire and Thunder theming is really cool. I can figure out the rest of the equipment later on my own as I do with these builds. And yeah. I honestly think we've created 3 really cool builds today. I genuinely like all 3 of these. I think each of them are going to have a really unique theme to them. The Kereska build is going to have different equipment based on the element that you're using at the moment. The Cyric build is going to be an Arcane Trickster build with Great Weapon Master and Mage Slayer, which is going to be really fun, and with like a Poison and Madness focus. And then the Gond build is a Fire Thunder Gnome of the Forge. I really like this. I think these might be, at least from a creative standpoint, some of the most solid deity builds that have been done for this series. Easily. With minimal side tangents. Minimal is putting it very, very gently. The quality of the steel is dependent on when the first blasted of the blast furnace. Oh, interesting. No, I'm pretty happy with all this. I am quite happy with this. I think we've done a pretty bang-up job today, guys. Or for the helmet, you could also do the Grimforge Helm for Forge Masterclass Fawn Invention. Interesting, because that would also give us fire resistance. Imagine having both Fire Shield doing extra damage from the thunder damage when enemies attack you. Yeah, it's unfortunate that Fire Shield is such a restricted spell. It's pretty much only on the Wizard and Warlock spell lists. Yeah, I mean, Bard can technically get it at level 10, but... yeah, Fiend, Warlock, and Wizard are the only ones that really get it naturally. 3 cheers to the Hobo Book Club. Yeah, no, I'm quite happy with that. I think we've done a absolutely spectacular job with this today. And we've still got 2 hours, about an hour and a half to 2 hours left to stream. What do we do with this time? Oh, I love Echo Knight too, Quay. Are there shields for Fire Shields? Yeah, there's items that give Fire Shield. If we go back to, there is. There's the if you go for fire, if you want Fire Shield Warm, you can get it from the Infernal Robe, which you get for killing Karlach, or the Flame Enameled Armor, which can be found at a chest in Worm's Rock Fortress. If you want Fire Shield Chill, you can get it from the Absolute Protector Shield. Unfortunately, we're using the Dwarven Splint Mail for the armor on this build, so that won't work. And since we're using 2-handed weapons, we won't be able to use a shield either. But that's definitely an option that's there. Elden Ring, as much as I'd love to Eclipse, hi by the way, and hi Phantom as well. My PC doesn't stream Elden Ring very well. It runs fine. I get like solid 60 when I'm not streaming, but as soon as I turn on OBS, Elden Ring just tanks. And I looked back on the stream quality last time I played it, and it was awful, so I'm not going to do Elden Ring as a stream anymore. I think that might be videos if it's going to appear on the channel at all. Joaquin build? Oh yeah, people were asking about that, weren't they? Sin was. You know what? We have time. Do we want to do a Joaquin build just so it's there? Would it be interesting to do it now? Yeah, hold on. You know what? Let's actually... We've got 2 hours. We can do the Joaquin build, because it's technically a deity build that's featured in BG3. And then maybe we can do some build requests after? Maybe not ones that will get turned into full videos, but if you guys want to kind of submit some ideas, maybe we could do that. Yeah, maybe. So we're making an innkeeper. Well, let's have a look at Joaquin and how they're represented in-game. So if Joaquin's Rest, which is the place that gets burned down in the first act, few interesting items, yeah, bunch of dialogue related to it, but Joaquin themselves is a... Yeah, here we go. Let's have a look. Joaquin, pronounced Joaquin or Joaquin, there you go, warrior build, wah, was a lesser deity of wealth and trade in the Faerunian pantheon. The merchant's friend was venerated and appeased by not only merchants, from lowly peddlers to the wealthy owners of trading companies, but investors, accountants, entrepreneurs, caravan guides, warehouse owners, philanthropists, deal makers, moneylenders, and other such individuals. Whew. Liberty's maiden was a goddess of commerce and the accumulation of wealth through free and fair trade, as well as the beneficial use of wealth to improve civilization. At the same time, the Golden Lady was the goddess of illicit trade, and the patron of many smugglers, fencers, black marketeers, and businessmen, in quotations, on the shady side of commerce. Well, I know what weapon we're using! It's... Where is it? It's this one, right? Twist of Fortune. No, that can't be right. Yes, it is. It is. It's because the blood money is a special attack. Proficiency, bonus piercing damage per 300 gold. When you roll 2 or less on this weapon's damage die, reroll it and take the new result. Yeah. Guild Artisan background? Absolutely. Twist of Fortune? 100%. Let me get this down in my notes. And I'm just going to call it the money build. That's what I'm going to call it, the money build. And obviously our weapon of choice will be the Twist of Fortune. Absolutely. 100%. I can see some bad levels. I know what you meant, Bard. Yeah. Can dress like a socialite with like high quality clothing. Since merchant, thief, maybe. High elf for the socialite snark of it all, yeah. So we're the party sugar daddy. Yeah, so definitely wanting a high charisma build, like actually kind of making a merchant build seems like an interesting concept. It's not something I've exactly explored before. Let's have a look, shall we? So, we will need to get Morningstar proficiency somehow, but that could just be a dip into fighter. But yeah, Bard for sure. That seems like it would make sense. Like a Bard Rogue, maybe? Shadow Wizard Money Gang. Do you know how many people commented the Shadow Wizard Money Gang meme on my bloody All Wizards build video? Gold, silk, and furs. Yeah, because there's like the gold and baby blue dye. That could work for this. Bay Warlock because of packs? Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, there's a lot of things we could potentially do with this one. It's a shame it seems like Sin isn't here. I'm going to DM him on Discord because he'll want to be here for this. Hold up. Where is Sin on my Discord list? He's here somewhere. There he is. I just sent him a DM on Discord just saying, hey, we're doing Joaquin, get back here. We'll see what he says about that later. Anyways, yeah, I can see Bard. Her domain, oh yeah, we need to actually read. Yeah. Her domains are knowledge and trickery, which makes sense. Let's keep reading about the goddess and we'll see if there's anything that might give us a bit more of an idea. Pact with the Fiend for gold and riches. Yeah, let's see. I can see Warlock being a part of this. A Bard look could be really fun. Joaquin was portrayed as a slender young woman with long, lustrous hair, always splendidly dressed. Some depictions include a pair of golden lions resting at her feet. Her avatar was 10 feet tall and typically had eyes that appeared as solid gold. She wore a gown woven from strips of precious metals polished to a gleaming finish and sprinkled with all manner of gemstones. Her sash was spun gold. Okay, so this is more like just what they look like. Joaquin was an active and enthusiastic deity who enjoyed the ebb and flow of goods and commerce and the rapid pace of business in a thriving marketplace full of spirited bargaining. Yeah, I could definitely see this being a bard look very easily. So much so that rumors of her presence, particularly intense negotiations involving one of her worshippers, became legendary. Her side always got the best bargain, but the other party usually walked away also feeling satisfied about the terms of the deal. Joaquin was driven to accomplish a goal and move on to the next one, and rather than being frustrated with when the usual business practices failed to work out a solution, she was willing to try alternate methods. This manifested in her church, sometime allowing the ends to justify the means. Ooh. Her stubbornness also and dogged persistence occasionally got her in predicaments and likely led to her imprisonment during the time of troubles. Right, powers. Here we go. This is going to be important. Cleric of the... I just look over at chat and I just see Cleric of the 1% domain. Hi, Sin. Yes, guess what we're doing? We're doing the one you were asking for. Although her avatar was not seen during the Gods' War, sightings from before that time reported that she cast spells as both a wizard and a cleric. Interesting. Using spells from any school or sphere. Her weapon of choice was a pummeling stream of gold coins that emitted from either hand. The coins did not disappear, so they could also be given as a boon. The coin cloud acted like a +5 impact lesser outsider bane nunch. What? The coin cloud acted like a +5 impact evil outsider bane nunchaku. Huh? That is the most random assortment of words I've ever read in a single sentence. Why is it a nunchaku? You're lucky I just finished my emotional D2 session. Oh. Emotional? Oh goodness. Hope everything's alright. 10 foot tall, we need the enlarged spell. She uses nunchucks. She's a weeb. Tip, level down to 1 and give 400 gold to a merchant with to get near a maximum affiliate. That's interesting. She's like Michelangelo. Flame strike? Yeah. In addition, she could either spit molten gold up to 6 feet or call down a flame strike that resembled a conflagration wrapped in a rotating helix of gold coins. Bloody hell, this... For a deity who just gets, like, named, like, a burning village after them at, like, a random point in Act 1, this might be one of the most badass deities I've ever seen. Amazing at commerce and like, talking and, like, making deals, but also will just straight up beat your ass with nunchakus made of gold coins and freaking summoning flaming strike down from the heavens. Like, literally just money, money, money all over your ass. Like, this is such a fun deity. I'm kind of glad people convinced me to do it. First rule, 3.5 weapon enchantment. I see. Can we make an alchemist bartering with lead that turned to gold? Ooh. That's a fun concept. Richest bitch in the land's daughter of Midas. Reflavored Cloud of Daggers, Cloud of Nunchaku. Oh, that's actually cool. And doesn't Bard get Cloud of Daggers? I'm 90% sure they do. I always have to double check these things. Yeah, they do. I know these things. Why? I should just be more confident. Yeah, okay, let me keep reading. Rather than fly, she chose to walk on air, levitating and appearing to take strides as she moved. After her return from imprisonment in the Abyss, she was known to have added rogue skills to her avatar, while also being a formidable cleric and wizard. She could extend her senses 7 miles or perceive anything within 7 miles of her temples, holy sites, worshippers, or objects, or anywhere near her name. Can I just point out, in all of the deity builds all the deities I've read about, right? A lot of them have this, like, they can extend their senses or their sight or their hearing or whatever to, like, a fuctillion distance. Like, a lot of gods do this.
It's just kind of weird. Her awareness extended to include any business deal, contract exchange, sale, theft, or destruction of merchant's property that impacted at least 500 people in scope. That's interesting, yeah, because didn't Grumsh also have something a bit like this, but for like where orcs were? She's very prominent in BG2. Really? I actually didn't know that. I still gotta play BG2. Congratulations, you... I can imagine this deity is like hosting Wheel of Fortune. He's like, congratulations, what do you win? What, you want to know what you win? Oh yeah, please let me know. And then she just pulls like a string that's like hanging from the ceiling, and they just get coated in like molten lava. I think I know the person you're talking about, Ben. Anyway, relationships. Joaquin's closest ally was Lyra, who was a trustee of Joaquin's portfolio while she made her ill-fated attempt to get back to her... okay, I see. Yeah. The church. Here we go. This is kind of what we want to read. Collectively, Joaquin's worshippers were known as Joaquina. Interesting. Ornate temples to the glory of the Golden Lady were usually found in the centers of commerce from Talashtar in the south up through Arm and all the way to the Sea of the Fallen Stars. God, that's a lovely name. And over to Thesk in the Golden Way. Her clerics, called Gold Eyes... I know what the build is named. The Gold Eye. Yep. There you go. The Gold Eye. And other worshippers travelled the trade routes, aiding merchants and caravans, or worked in the opulent temples to host for wealthy donors, moneylenders, currency exchanges, venture capitalists, warehouses, fences, covertly of course, and most importantly, security guards. Interesting. Harlot's Coin Heresy. What's this? This heretical schism of Joaquin's faith taught that Joaquin had gradually sold off pieces of her divinity and virtue to Gratz in order to finance her church. They believed that it was for failing to pay her debts to him that Gratz imprisoned her during the time of troubles. These heretics taught that Joaquin earned her freedom only because she finally paid off her debt to the demon, resulting in Gratz owning the majority of Joaquin's godhood. The heretics therefore believed that all who worshipped Joaquin were really worshipping Gratz instead, and were content with that arrangement. Oh, there's a bit of drama. Sorry, I wasn't reading chat very much for a second there. My apologies. Yeah, I can see what you mean. Like, I definitely think this build will probably have some connection to the collector from the Toll House in Act 2. I mean, obviously we're using their weapon. That just makes the most sense. Sugar mommy with a demon daddy. Yeah, I can see why you like this character, Sin. Warlock multiclass? Yeah, I'm thinking Bardlock. I think it makes too much sense. It mirrors the story of the deity themselves, as well as all about making deity like deals and packs. And also the Bard thing for high charisma being the merchant and like the, you know, the negotiator and such like that. I think Bardlock makes the most sense. It's just a case of what. It seems like that she made a deal with Gratz, who I'm guessing is a fiend. So it could be Pacted the Fiend Bardlock pretty easily. Yeah. Time for that dress meme. Is it white, gold, or blue, black? There's an armor piece in Elden Ring that somebody posted about. I think it's the Pages set, where if you don't have a torch out, it looks a different color than when you have a torch out, but it's not actually changing the texture, it's just the same illusion. Yeah, Grass is a demon? Yeah. So maybe Pact of the Fiend? Warlock? Mixed with Law Bard. Law Bard would give us more skill proficiencies and expertise. It would give us magical secrets, allowing us access to cleric spells, which would be on theme for a build like this, as well as being able to get all of the stuff that we would kind of want from this sort of vibe that we're going for, right? Fiend Law Bardlock, maybe? We'll workshop it. This is more about, like, history and such like that. I think we've got the gist. It seems like there's a lot to this deity, actually, which makes me surprised that they're not more prominently featured in BG3, actually. Gratz is one of the demon lords of the abyss. Right. Yeah, demons and devils are different things, right? In a way, Warlock 9. Yes, because Warlock does get Flame Strike. That's true. If you go Fiend, you get Flame Strike. Wait. Yeah, demons are more monstrous and evil.
Yeah, because demons and devils are very different things. I learned that recently, because the new tieflings in 1 D&D, or D&D 24, or D&D 5.5, or D&D 6, whatever you want to call it, the new tieflings, they have different variations based on devils and demons now, right? Am I correct in that? Because there's like an abyssal demon, an abyssal tiefling now? I'm just kind of looking at this. Oh god, I'm on Reddit, never mind. Specifically the new Reddit layout. Demons are chaotic and devils are lawful. A contract with a demon is pointless. One with a devil will be held too. So devils are what I presume powerful. Yeah, okay. Demons come from the abyss, another plane that is infinite in depth. Devils come from the 9 rings of hell. Demons are pure hatred incarnate. They're unstructured. They seek to destroy and wreak havoc. Okay. I mean, I don't know how much I'm going to trust Miss M. Redding, or whoever this is. Mr. Redding. Reddit and run. Yeah. Okay, I see. Ah, well, let's actually look at the Forgotten Realms. That's probably a more reasonable source of information. Yeah. Okay. Yes, the new tieflings are amazing, yeah. I see. The whole blood war is between demons and devils. I see. Law 7, Fiendlock 5. Yeah, I see exactly why you're going for that, Kirk, I do. I did read some of the new changes to the classes. I'm not a huge fan of the... I know they reverted the Warlock changes. I didn't like some of the Warlock changes they made. They reverted some of them, which was good. Why Lawbard? Because Lawbard specifically would give us access to more spells, specifically from Cleric and such like that, which could be nice. It would also give us access to more skill, proficiencies, and expertise, which is good for a build that is meant to be about being the face of the party and social manipulation, which is what this would be. So that's why I'm thinking Lawbard. We don't have that confirmed, but it was in the last species info playtest doc we got. I think it's been confirmed by certain content creators who got early access to the final product for some of these things, but I think some stuff can still change. But yeah, I'm not too happy with some of the 6E changes, but things like Weapon Mastery look really nice, and I will probably be, if I end up running D&D myself, I'll probably be backporting some of the stuff that they've added. You know what, here's an age-old debate I'd be interested to see from this chat room, because we've got a lot of very experienced tabletop players here. And this is something that I've never been too sure on myself, but definitely perked my interest. Sorcerer using Constitution for its spellcasting. What is the general opinion on that? I'm just curious, because that's an age-old thing I've seen people debating about. You can't get Flame Strike from Magical Secrets? No, but you could get it from Warlock. As a mainly Paladin player, I'm very sad. Yeah. Some think it's OP, some think it's fine. I mean, the only thing is it would give you better concentration saves, really, and a bit more HP. Which, yeah, is good, but for a sorcerer who's got a lower base hit die, it can't be that bad, right? Surely. I can see why it's not that, but, you know. I just thought it'd be an interesting conversation, because it seems like some people have opinions on it. The devs think it's OP? Can't argue with that, then. I'm not a game designer. As much as I did try once. Maybe I'll share that, actually. That could be a fun little extra thing to do. Yeah, I suppose I could see why. Perhaps I'm thinking about it too much from the BG3 mindset. Starfinder has/had a dex-based caster? That's actually pretty cool. Right. So anyway, we kind of got a bit off track there, so... We got way off track, actually. Let me just kind of come back a bit. Yeah, okay. So I think I've got a general idea. Someone who's all about deals, merchant stuff, and is very hoity-toity, a bit of an influencer type, not in the YouTube sense, but more like the kind of being able to kind of manipulate situations in a way that works for them, you know, making deals, but maybe not also not just always screwing people over. I think Warlock Bard does make sense, but I think we just got to figure out the exact level scheme that we're going for. I can see I have started a bit of a debate about constitution-based sorcery. My apologies. I was just curious as to what people's thoughts was. They did it with Earth Shinjinga in 3.5. It felt fun and flavorful. I've allowed players to do so in games before, and it's never really been unbalanced. Interesting. Right. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, so interesting. I've kind of glossed over the chat. Definitely some interesting opinions there on the sorcerer thing. And I'm interested to see that it's actually been tested before. So, you know, might be willing to if I ever run D&D, I might be willing to let my players do that. Who knows? But anyways, back to Joaquin and the build. I would say 3-9 Bard Lock. Which is the 3 and which is the 9? I'm now wondering what YouTube in the Forgotten Realms would be like. Can you imagine Gale as a professor in, like, the far future, who's, like, got his own YouTube channel, but he's like that guy who makes, like, scientific things in his lab, but they always, like, explode on him? You know the one? But for Gale, it's just magic and, like, alchemy. 3-9 Bard Warlock. Yeah, well, I can see why, because that would get us Flame Strike. So if we go College of Law, right, we gain proficiency in 3 skills, as well as being able to use our reaction to invoke penalties. Because again, think about it from a Law Bard's perspective. Think about it in this essence of deal making. We've got Bardic Inspiration, which is buffing up our allies, which is kind of the good deal. Then you've got Cutting Words as a reaction on enemies, which is kind of like the bad deal. It's using the Bardic Inspiration die for both sides of the same coin. Negotiating, looking at the good and the bad. And the bag? The bad. Well, I mean, this character is definitely going to be getting that bag. They're going to be making lots of money. That's the whole point. Something like that. So that's why I'm leaning more towards law, personally. But I can see arguments being made for others. But yeah, if we go to, I don't know, Warlock 9, it feels like too far. Because, yeah, like you say, you go to Warlock 9, you would get access to, if you went Fiend, you'd get access to Flame Strike. Almost wish we got, like, Destructive Wave as well, but nah. Yeah, you'd get Flame Strike, which is obviously a thing that we would have. But we could also go, like Cleric, but nah, that doesn't feel right. Mr. Tube? Do not do this at home, yeah. I can see this build, Gale using Sending Stones for YouTube / Arcane Tube. Oh, God. I'm thinking of Pokimane for East Mistress and E-Celeb. Oh my gosh, maybe you get... Imagine, like, D&D, like, Mythbusters. Like, they had, like, the actual Mythbusters show, but it's, like, for, like, magic and science stuff, and, like... But the guys themselves aren't, like, spellcasters, they're just, like, pulling out scrolls and, like... Or, like, magic items and stuff, and, like, let's see what this can do, and then they just drive, like, a freaking truck into, like, a Vorpal Blade or something to see if the Vorpal Blade cuts through. Or you'd get, like, Oh... You get, like, Jackass or something as well. It's like, how close can we get to this owlbear? Damn, Quay! I just read that, damn. Gale would turn Sending Stones into a dating app. Oh, no. Anyways... Back on track, back on track. I can see going for that. But I just feel like level 9 of Warlock feels too far for a build like this. I don't know why, it just doesn't feel right to me, but perhaps I'm just being picky. I feel like I want more Bard levels, though. Competing televangelists? Yeah. Jackass is just every adventuring party ever. Do you know what? That would be a really fun idea for, like, a modern-day D&D campaign. Because, again, when we eventually do the world-building streams come the summer, I am going to be making, like, a modern-day sort of D&D campaign setting. That's what the world is going to be. And The idea of, like, almost something a bit like from Content Warning, like, if you guys know that game, it was kind of like a viral thing, like, a couple of months ago. You could have, like, a party of D&D adventurers who their whole reason for adventuring is going out there and getting crazy footage of things happening in, like, this, like, D&D world, this, like, fantasy setting, in order to get views on, like, I don't know, Book 2, or, like, whatever the YouTube equivalent would be. And, like, the whole thing is, like, trying to get, like, footage of, like, scary monsters or, like, magical artifacts. Or, like, they did, like, sneak into, like, a lich's crypt to try and get, like, footage of the lich or something. That could be a really fun campaign idea. Just something a bit more episodic. Do not read mixed dialogue on Gale. Well, might do that later. Hi, Phantom PhD. Good to have you here. Is there some spell you want from Magical Secrets? Yeah, thank you for helping me get back on track. Not off the top of my head, but let's have a look. We could get some, like, clerical gold-based stuff, like maybe, like, Guiding Bolt, Sacred Flame. Sanctuary could also be a very, very fun one to get, because Sanctuary is, like... Because here's the thing, right? I'm almost like there's a bit of inspiration here from, like, that one part of Skyrim where the Greybeards got everyone together on neutral territory. Maybe that's something like this. Maybe when you're, like, at the negotiating table and you're, like, doing this, like, deal with people, right? And you're kind of working with the competing sides to get the best deal for everyone. Maybe having a spell like Sanctuary where it's just like, actually, we cannot harm each other makes a lot of sense. In that case, then, I'm almost tempted to go Light Cleric. Because Light Cleric would get us Flame Strike. It would get us gold and radiant-themed things. And we could mix it with Bard still as well, if we want, or Rogue or whatever have you, if you want the skill proficiencies. Maybe that's the better way to go about this. Because we could see them being a cleric of Joaquin, because Joaquin does have clerical worshippers. Maybe that makes a bit more sense than Warlock in this case. Because if we go over to Light Cleric, right? Like a Light Cleric Bard could be really fun. Yeah, because we'd go to level 9. We get Flame Strike and Destructive Wave, which could be fun. We get Potent Spell Casting, adding our Wisdom modifier to, like, our Sacred Flame or Produce Flame or whatever have you. And again, going for that fire damage thing is almost like those molten coins as well. You could perhaps mix that with some Bard levels or some Warlock levels, depending on kind of what you think you want to go for. Maybe the Archfey Pact in order to get Charming abilities. But you could get that from Bard as well, so that's not a huge thing. Radiant Spirit Guardians could represent the swirling cloud of coins. Yes! Cryptid Hunters, Wendigo, and Mr. Creepypasta come to mind. I like how there's, like, this other... Like, we're having a genuine discussion about the build that we're trying to make, and now there's also a discussion about Faerunian YouTube. I love it. I love this community so much. Potent spellcasting in Cleric is the most disappointing feature. It is because it is specifically limited to a very limited pool of cantrips, being 2. That is Sacred Flame and Produce Flame. Because potent spellcasting only works with Cleric cantrips, and unfortunately, this does not count for things even with, like, Magic Initiate Cleric, I don't think. And even then, what would that change? And if you get, like, Spell Sniper, that doesn't count either, any of those things. I would say Warlock more than Bard. Maybe. I do feel like that fits the lore pretty well. But it feels weird having this, like, merchant character that doesn't have Bard levels at the same time, right? Because, again, we can get this sort of thing from Bard anyway, because we can get Friends. We can get Dissonant Whispers. We can get Charm Person. Yeah, I mean, Song of Rest is great. Jack of all trades, merchant, yeah. And then at level 3, we could pick our subclass, but we'd also get things like Heat Metal. We would get Heat Metal, which makes sense for the lore of this. We would get Cloud of Daggers, which we could reflavor as like a Cloud of Coins. We could get Detect Thoughts, which would make a lot of sense for a merchant who's about making deals. We could then pick up College of Law for extra proficiency. College of Swords if we want some of that. College of Valor even if you want to. Clerics do get Morningstar proficiency. Yes, they do. Yes, they do as a base. They absolutely do. Yep, right there, alongside flails and simple weapons, which include maces. Cloud of +5 evil outside of main nunchucks. Yeah. Morning, folks. Hi, Rob. What build are we on? We finished. Technically, we finished the deity builds until we do the Dead 3 stream. We're doing kind of a bonus build based on Joaquin, who is named in the game but isn't like really a big thing. That you only have Joaquin's Rest, but it was kind of a popular demand from some people in the chat to get it done, and we had extra time, so I thought, yeah, let's take a look at it. That's what we're doing. Plus, Pact of the Blade makes it so you don't have to focus on strength. I see what you're saying, Liam, but it means we would have to focus on charisma, which if we're mostly taking cleric levels, not really going to work for us. At the end of the day, it's not going to make a huge difference whether we have Pact of the Blade or not, because we have to focus on strength or charisma. And at that point, does it make more sense to just do strength anyway? Yeah, the Morningstar is mainly just there for the flavoring, and the fact that, yes, you could technically do the freaking gold coin nuke as like a divine punishment, which actually sounds pretty cool. So, that's there for that. It's just, Outside of Volo, is there a single trader in BG3 that would be a bard? Could make sense for the Dragonborn and Rivington, maybe, but not... I mean, the only reason I look at bard like this is because I don't see bards as just musical people. I see bards as artists and artisans as well. So, like, yes, music is obviously a primary function, is what they're more typically known as. But a bard that uses their voice just to talk is as much, and, you know, manipulate conversation and use magic through their voice is just as much as someone who would use an instrument. As well as a bard could be an artist. Imagine a bard, right? And I believe this idea originally comes from Joe Cat. Imagine a bard, right, that, like, uses, like, a paintbrush to cast their spells and, like, paints art, and that's how their thing comes out. Like, and there's even the new... bard subclass that's coming up, which I'm really looking forward to trying out, by the way, which is the College of Dance, which is all about doing bard shit through, like, your movements and your dance moves. Like, stuff like that. And it's also kind of, like, got a monkish aspect to it. So, like, bard can be so much more than just instruments. Granted, it's not required, but I'm looking at bard specifically as well because it comes with the skills and proficiencies and expertise and all that good stuff that we like for someone who is going to be a face of the party and someone who is good in social situations. I guess in that sense, you could also go rogue. In fact, if you went rogue, you could pick up Thief Rogue, and you could have a left-handed spell sword like Cleric. Shit, that's a good idea. Shit, that's a good idea. Oh, but you wouldn't get two-weapon fighting. Unless you got the gloves to the balanced hands, which could make that work. Ooh. Left-handed spell sword like Cleric, Merchant of Joaquin. Shit. That might actually be good. I don't know. I don't know. That sounds cool. That is a good idea. Maybe. Maybe. That does sound cool. It gets us everything we'd want. Rogue would get us a bunch of stuff. Because Rogue would get us we get 4 proficiencies, and I believe we get, 2 expertise. We wouldn't be able to use sneak attack, but with the cunning actions would be really nice. And also Thief for the fast hands to get that extra bonus action. Left-handed spell sword with a Morningstar. Hanging out with Nine Fingers. Yes! I forget those guys are a big kind of guild like that are all a bunch of rogues. Crap. Light Domain, left-handed rogue. Oh, I think we got it. If everyone's in agreement, of course. Cleric Rogue is good because there was a little bit of black market trade too. Yeah. You can make sing, dance, paint, prance, make a pretty drawing with a lot. That's good. Fighter 1, Thief 3, Light Cleric 8. No, I can't go any lower than 9 in Light Cleric because... Flame Strike. I want Flame Strike because it's specifically part of Joaquin. We can patch it up with the Gloves of the Balanced Hand because I don't think we're going to need any other kind of slot in the glove slot to really make that work. But I'm not... I need level 9. I do. For Flame Strike, I need it. I just need it, man. I need it. I need it, man. I vote Cleric Rogue. We don't need Fighter. You have my approval. Now bring her back before midnight. 9 Cleric, 3 Thief. Yeah. Oh, I think we're all in agreement on that. 3 Thief, 9 Cleric, left-handed Spellsword. I really like this build. I think it'll work. Fighter needs 2 levels anyway. No, it doesn't. You get the fighting style at level 1. You get Action Surge at level 2. It's Paladin you're thinking of. Paladin and Ranger both get their fighting styles at level 2. Right. I think that's pretty good. Where do the merchant skills come in? From Rogue, getting the expertise and proficiency in Persuasion, Perception, Sleight of Hand, Intimidation, Deception, and we can get expertise in those skills. That's where the merchant skills come in. Guild Artisan background as well. Yep, absolutely. 100%. Yeah, I mean, the only thing is I don't see anything else that we would explicitly need. If you don't care about your, your weapon damage that much, then it's not a huge deal to use the Gloves of the Balanced Hand. But I don't see anything else that we would immediately need in that slot, so I think just picking it up is fine. It is a way to patch it up. Yes, I know there are better glove options in the game, but for this specific build, I can't think of anything that I would immediately want more than that, right? Maybe there's something, like, I mean, there's this that gives you advantage on sleight of hand, but, I don't know. Yeah, we'd still be a spellcaster first, but I think that what we're going for here works. Well, sleight of hand, okay, so, this is a misconception, people, nothing against what's being said here. People say, like, oh, and the merchant uses sleight of hand to steal everything. Yeah, that could be a part of it. This could be a back alley dealing sort of thing. But sleight of hand isn't just about stealing things. I like to flavor sleight of hand as well as being just general dexterous hand movements. So, like, and I think this is interesting, right? I would actually allow, if I was DMing D&D, to have sleight of hand rolls be based on charisma. Now, in certain situations, because hear me out, a lot of languages in the real world use hand motions as part of their spoken language. And a merchant, or someone who is really good at being the face of the party, would actually be able to use certain hand gestures that they've learned from other cultures, in addition to their manner of speaking, to give off a more, like, fluent vibe to their way of speaking, a way of kind of conveying emotion, and using flashy sleight of hand actions while speaking can also help sway people into your favor through a bit of, like, physical showmanship while you're speaking. So I can see sleight of hand being used as a charisma thing, because it is actually a big part of certain languages, as well as a person who is, you know, managing a situation, doing dealings and doing that, would have like their, you know, like, high dexterity and being able to kind of use their, you know, hand movements in certain ways. And, like, it's hard to explain, but do you guys get what I mean? Yeah. Rhetoric hand... Yeah. Rhetoric hand movements. Yeah. Thieves' Cant. Exactly. Thieves' Cant can be flavored as sign language. God, could you... I know people, like, go against the idea of playing, like, a mute character in, like, a tabletop game because it's kind of hard to work with, but playing a character who's proficient in sign language could actually be really, really fun. Yeah, like... Yeah, you don't have to rob people with sleight of hand. It can be used for so many different things. Like, in my own Call of Cthulhu campaigns, sleight of hand is a skill there, too. And I always use it for, like, really fine, like, hand movements, because, like, it was, like, and such like that. Like, it's not just stealing things. Drow have a silent language? Ooh, that's cool. Come on, JP. Roman dialogue did use a lot of distinction. Yeah, because, isn't, like, Italian one of those languages that uses their hands quite a lot? I don't want to make assumptions, but I'm pretty sure that's true, and that's kind of where I got the basis of the idea from. So where does sleight of hand end and performance begin? I can see that also being an argument as well, Kirk. I agree with that. performance is an odd one. Because I could see performance being used for the same things I describe. But then again, most people could also just see performance as being the literal act of performing with... I don't know. I can see it working for both. Definitely. Oh, you cast silence. Fool. Oh, no. I just realized something. Okay, I'm going to ruin this whole concept for everyone. Okay, so a spellcaster who is mute, so they use sign language to cast their spells, but it's just like Naruto, like the ninjutsu signs. Like, oh, you cast silence, and it just does like the Naruto hand motions, and the guy explodes. Oh no, I've just ruined it for everyone. I've ruined it. I've ruined it. I've ruined it. It's just like for ninjutsu. I've ruined it. I've ruined it for everyone. Okay, I'm gonna mark down Joaquin as 3 lights. Cleric 9. I like that. I'm quite happy with that overall. I'll work out the rest kind of as I go. But yeah, that's actually a bonus episode of the Deity Build series done and dusted for us. Isn't that fun? Sin gets his wish. And so did the other people who wanted it. Coolio. What? And God, we still have like over an hour. Yeah. I'm pretty happy with that overall. I think we've come up with a pretty cool build there. Who is Naruto? A very famous anime character. I'm just saying that when you allow something intended to be utilized for one thing that can be used for others, it can often have the side effect of devaluing other abilities. I can understand that. I know there's a big debate about, like, intimidation being used with strength, and this, that, and the other thing. I totally understand why. But my thing is, right, okay, so this is when I would use this, Kirk, right? If I have a rogue character, right, who doesn't take the performance skill, because in most cases, why would they, right? Like, and then they get into, like, a dialogue situation where they are using their hands in some shape or form to, like, kind of, you know, manipulate a social situation in their favor. I could then see charisma being used for sleight of hand. But again, obviously, with a rogue, they're probably just using dex anyway. But in my opinion, like, I think having that little bit of flexibility with skills, I don't think I would ever say, oh yeah, you can always use this skill with this ability score. No, never. It would entirely be situationally dependent, which is why by doing that, I encourage players to be a bit more creative with their roleplay. Obviously, with limits. But if, like, I had a barbarian who, in order to intimidate someone who was pissing them off, just smashed a, like, glass of ale over their own head and just stared at them, like, yeah, I'd let them roll strength for intimidation. Why not? Because it's a display of strength that is intimidating. But I wouldn't just say, the barbarian could just be in a conversation and they could just roll strength for intimidation because they're just standing there being all bulky. Does that make sense? I think it's just situationally dependent. Extremely situationally dependent, and would only be rewarded for good roleplay. And even then, the stats that the player may have may not even work with that anyway, so I don't know. That's just my personal DMing philosophy. It comes from the thing that I'm a Call of Cthulhu player, where I don't know if you guys have ever seen a Call of Cthulhu character sheet. Give me 1 second. For those of you that haven't, I'm going to show you a Call of Cthulhu character sheet. And maybe you'll see where I'm coming from by kind of allowing that kind of creative freedom. Where did I put the character sheets? Modern Era Sheet 1. Here we are. Modern Era Sheet 1, I said. There you go. This is a Call of Cthulhu character sheet, right?
So you've got, like, your stand-ins, like Strength, you got Dex, you got Constitution, Intelligence, Education, which is a bit more of the Wisdom stat, Power, which is Strength of Mind. But look at all of the social skills, right? Rather than having all of these be tied to core stats, like in D&D, these are all extremely different stats that have their own scores. And because there are so many different ways of approaching situations, I like to give a little bit more flexibility when it comes to other systems that maybe don't have this many options, like D&D. Because if I'm being honest, I don't think I'm incredibly controversial in saying here, but the proficiency system in D&D is a bit flawed. There's definitely a lot of skills that have higher priority than others, especially, and like, think of animal handling. When does that ever come up? And even so, a character who would be dealing with animals is probably going to be playing a druid, which has speak with animals, which then defeats the purpose. So, maybe not in every case, but you get the point, right? Whereas this system here, obviously it has skills on it that maybe you're not going to use a lot in a campaign. Anthropology, appraise, maybe not. But the fact that that freedom is there to express your character in so many different ways, maybe it just means there could be a little bit more flexibility. But, I don't know. Maybe that's why I have the mindset that I do. Who knows? Yeah, I did say that. I did say. That if it's a rogue, then they're more likely to use Dex anyway. But if it's a bard, then I guess they could also use performance. But then again, it's just situationally dependent. The whole sleight of hands thing was just an example, but it's a No. I really enjoy this Discord. Like, it's an interesting conversation to have because it just brings up the idea if certain skills in D&D are too rigid, or if there's not enough, or if some of them are just pointless. Right? It's a discussion that's awesome to have because this is where things like homebrew come up, right? I tell you what, a long time ago when I was considering if I wanted to do a D&D campaign for my current group, I actually toyed around with the idea of 2 separate character sheets. One is your D&D character sheet, which you use for combat and the stats leveling and all that sort of thing, but the other one is a Call of Cthulhu sheet that you use for social stats. So you basically have them all lumped into the same character, but when it comes to social situations and other roleplay situations, you have way more options. It became a little bit too confusing and a little bit too open-ended for it to consistently work in a campaign, but I think that basis of an idea of having like a separate page specifically for roleplay and social stats could be a thing with D&D. It could be. But I don't know. It was just a shower thought I had one day. You think Pathfinder does it better? Again, I need to look into Pathfinder more. Because while I like Pathfinder from a roleplay standpoint, I do think the mechanical standpoint is a little bit more confusing. At least for me. I find Pathfinder very confusing. I'm trying my best to learn and understand, but learning a complicated new system like that is very, very tricky. Call of Cthulhu, by comparison, is a very simple system that's more roleplay focused, but Pathfinder, at least to me, just because I'm a flippin' dumbass, is a bit confusing. DC-20? Yes, I've heard of DC-20. Hold up, I want to actually Google that. Because this is sparking a lot of interesting discussion. Yes, DC-20. I love the look of this. I've seen some videos talking about it, and it seems right down my... Yeah, I saw D&D Shorts video on it, and I think I saw the DM Lair as well. I think I saw their video. It looks really interesting. Really interesting. I'm honestly tempted to give it a try. Oh, sorry, does Sean leave? I'll see you later, Sean. Thanks for coming. Pathfinder has levels of proficiency like COC? Right, okay. They call it Mathfinder too. Pathfinder is just math. Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's down to opinion, but... I still have to learn Pathfinder. We have to continue Wrath of the Righteous at some point, but I'm not sure I'll have time for it today now. But yeah. Yeah, so DC-20 has a few different things about it. You have a new combat system with the 4 action point system, which I think looked really interesting. Augmenting spells. Like, I really like the system. I want to do a deep dive into the system one day just on my own time where I just read and look at everything. I'm going to buy this when it comes out. I'm buying this. Straight up. Because I think it's going to be a really fun system to run. But I'm really interested in this. Yeah, pretty much all the social skills being lumped into charisma is a problem. Which then maybe we need to look at the opposite argument then for the argument I was making earlier. Rather than a rogue using sleight of hand as a charisma skill, maybe a rogue could use performance as a dexterity skill. That makes more sense in that specific context. Because you could argue that an acrobatic dexterous performance could use dexterity. That makes more sense. That makes more sense to me. My new world is being switched into DC20 as my table isn't really continuing with Wizards of the Coasts. Yeah, I can see that there's going to be a lot of animosity for Wizards of the Coast moving forward, and I understand why. I don't think like everyone at Wizards of the Coast is like an evil overlord or whatever, but I do think they made some really poor decisions that was basically just for money and almost fucked over like millions of people in the process. Well, not millions, but hundreds of thousands of creators. So that's why I'm exploring different options like DC20. I'm looking at different like things for my space campaign, like open D6 space, stuff like that, right? Or Traveler, as you guys have pointed out to me. I'll look at that later. I'm back. What are we looking at? Sorry, Sin. We kind of got on a big tangent. We were talking about other TTRPG systems, and a couple of others came up. We were also talking about like using other ability scores for certain stats, for certain skills. I meant. Yeah, exactly. Prophetic. That's the kind of thing. Oh yeah, Ben, you had a build request, didn't you? I suppose we got time. I can fulfill some. I can look into some requests if people are interested. Sure, lay it on me. The darkness build. Okay, do you want to go into a bit more depth? Yeah, I always allow any skill to be used to perform any abilities as long as a justification can be provided for it via roleplay. Yeah, exactly. Warrior. Well, you got your Wario build. Check your DMs. Okay. Checking DMs. Oh, big ass. Oh, did you? Oh, yes! I remember you said that before. I did read this comment and it just completely slipped my mind. Yeah, the guy from the Darkness games. The powers come from a demonic entity called the Darkness. It takes the form of two shadowy demonic snakes that becomes manifest in dim light and absolute darkness. It's capable of... Yeah, okay. Darkness Devil Sight. Summon Locust to distract enemies. And then there's like... Yeah, you use the psionic stuff. I see what you mean, yeah. Basically gonna go for like a ranged crossbow build with Darkness Devil Sight. The only problem is that even with Devil Sight, I'm pretty sure you cannot fire ranged attacks outside of Darkness. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if any of these will be made into videos. We're just kind of having a discussion now. This kind of just turned into a discussion stream for the next little bit that I'll continue streaming. But yeah, for those of you who aren't quite sure what I'm talking about, it's this. It's a character here that's kind of like a warlock thing going for it. It's like this guy, and it seems like a really cool idea to base a build on. Necromancer to use as a flute to control their undead thralls. You probably want at least level 6 of Necromancer Wizard. That's what I'll always say that for Necromancy builds. And probably the rest of it would obviously be Bard. I mean, that makes the most sense. If you go all the way in Lore Bard, you could get some more necromantic spells, I think. If I'll just quickly pull this one up, because this one is just a quick one. Hold up. Let me see. Because you get like Song of Rest and such like that. But if you go for Magical Secrets, you would already get Bone Chill, but you could pick up a couple of other things. Like Spirit Guardians for a necrotic aura. Vampiric Touch could also work. I could also see Gaseous Form being a fun thing. You'd only be missing out on some higher level spells, but you could grab them from scrolls. You could grab a Scroll of Blight. So yeah, if you want my opinion, go for level 6 Lore Bard, level 6 Necromancer. There you go. That's a Necromancer that uses a flute. With the Pied Piper. Have you played DMC? Say hello to the first build I ever uploaded. The very first one was based on Devil May Cry. And then I remade it for the 100th video. That wasn't meant to be a dig. I just thought it was kind of funny. Do a chain lock No, that's not right. It's not a chain lock. It's not a chain lock, but I do have a V build. It was my third build I ever made. Sorry. 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 Anyways, back to this, because this is what I'm looking for. Can I post a link? Can I post a link to the screenshot comment? I don't. You wouldn't be able to post it in the in this chat because it would get flagged by YouTube because you can't post links. Sorry. I'm sorry, Quay. I just thought it was kind of funny. It's really funny because I'm not even kidding. Some people will ask me if like I've ever made a build based on Eyeless Dry, and that's hilarious to me because my Eyeless Dry build is my most popular one. It's just stuff like that. You can post it though. Oh, maybe I can. Yeah. Hold up. I can. Let me do that real quick. I don't think. Will that work? Because I think it would open up Discord to post it. I don't think I can paste the link. Oh yeah. I guess yeah. It would download. It would download. Yeah. So if anybody wants to see the specific comment that Ben's talking about, here you go. It will download it. It will download the image, but it's fine. Have you watched Umbrella Academy? I have. I've been thinking of trying to create a Klaus Hargreaves build, but I've been struggling with the mechanics like loose. Klaus... He's the, like, fighter one, right? No, which one's Klaus? Oh, God, it's been so long since I watched that show. I think I know who you're talking about, Donut Dude. Sin. What are your thoughts on specifically DMC? Oh, like for the like reboot one? I've not played it, so I don't have an opinion. Sorry. Chris Boulder Punch Redfield. He's the cult leader. Oh, that one was Klaus. Speak with Dead. Oh god, you'd want Speak with Dead. Be a part of it. I could see, and then it's like the death kind of aspect to it. He's not exactly like, he kind of pulls the powers from like dead people, doesn't he? I'd say Klaus is a warlock. Probably a pact of the Great Old One. Because of like maybe like the fear aspect and like the dead relative who he pulls the powers, like the tentacle powers from. Would that not make sense? I think he would be a goo warlock. Okay, that doesn't count, Rob. Oh. Oh man, what a day. Sorry. Back on the original. Yeah. Spirit Guardian, Necrotic, yeah. But anyways, back on the original track. So this guy is the one I was kind of looking at. I mean, yeah, according to the original comment that you posted. Yeah, probably would be like Darkness, Devil Sight, heavy crossbow, hand crossbows like you said. Probably a Warlock, yeah, for sure, Goo, Pact. I mean, I don't think... I mean, I think there's... Because again, you say in the game he has an Imp Servant, so there's probably Pact of the Chain would make sense then. But maybe I would just replace that with just getting Shovel instead. And just kind of just flavoring that as like the Imp, quote-unquote, and then going with Pact of the Blade instead to still get extra attack. Because unless I'm mistaken, you can use Pact of the Blade on ranged weapons, right? Pretty sure. High Voltage! Uh... So yeah. I see this being like a dual crossbow build, Darkness Devil Sight. I don't think there's any like specific multi-class that I would go for here. In fact, I could see this build just being pure Warlock. Maybe a bit of Sorcerer, if you wanted just some extra utility options. But yeah, I think this is just going to be a crossbow Warlock build. No Pact of the Blade Unraged? Right. Then maybe instead of going all the way Warlock, you're going to want to get extra attack from another class. I can see that maybe being Bard if you wanted to do some Psychic stuff while also picking up some Psionic powers. So maybe go for Bard 7, Pact of the Chain, Goo Warlock 5. Then maybe picking up Swords Bard for like the flourishes to give you extra damage on your ranged attacks. So yeah, I would... And then pick up Psionic powers and like Psychic-based spells from Bard as well, in addition to the Goo Warlock levels. So yeah, I think for this character, you want a Goo Lock Bard with a 5-7 split. Well, what are we doing right now? Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at some people, if anybody wants to ask, like, because we finished up all the deity builds I wanted to do today, and to kind of, maybe just for, like, this little, like, kind of 25 minutes of stream, people are asking me about builds, and I'm just giving ideas on how to make them. What's that? It's a dude. A man with guns and demon snakes, and he's kind of cool, actually. This kind of invokes, like, the edgy kind of stuff that teenage me would have loved. I used to like things like Prototype, and, like the original, like, Infamous games. Like Shadow the Hedgehog. Like the black and red color scheme. It's one of my favorite color schemes, just in general. Yeah, Prototype? Yeah, exactly. And I like the Infamous games, too. Oh, it's been a while since I played them, though. Hellboy? Yeah, I mean, Hellboy's not that hard to do. Pact of the Fiend, Draconic Sorcerer Red. Kind of like my Tiamat build. Focus on gunplay as well. Maybe? Well, I suppose you'd want the extra attack too. Maybe a bit of Monk in there for the fist. I don't know. That's a tricky one. Wild Heart Barbarian Chimpanzee Heart build. Alex Mercer is your boy. Yeah. Yeah. No, come on. I mean, let's be honest. Especially now. I'm doing this on stream. I can't spell hedgehog. Oh, apparently I can. Like, come on. Okay, so 10-year-old me, I'm going to own it. 10-year-old me thought this was the most badass thing in the world. Like, you did not get more badass than Shadow the Hedgehog, okay? He was awesome. He had, like, teleportation powers, like the Chaos Blast. He would just straight up say, I'm going to murk your ass with a gun. And now he's got, like, wings and shit in the new game? I'm sorry. He's cool as hell. Shadow the Hedgehog is cool as hell, and I'm not going to pretend that he isn't. He's awesome. Shadow the Hedgehog's awesome. Hey, he's cool. Until people do this, I don't know what... I mean, that's kind of cool, but, like, I don't like how human he looks. But you get my point, right? Shadow the Hedgehog's cool as hell. I mean, look at this! That's a badass piece of art. I like that. No! I've just seen something I don't want to see. Okay, moving on. He had rocket boots. Yes! He's cool. He walked so we could run. Oh, well, he skated, actually. Comparing him to Alex Mercer as well. I mean, hold up. Hold up. I'm just gonna... I'm just... I mean, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything, like, specifically. But I think I'll end it there. Then they made Knuckles at him, but yeah. Unfortunately. I forget the name of that one Primal Oh, Primal Savagery. That's the one you're thinking of, Quay. I'm hoping nobody else saw that image of Shadow that I saw. Google Images Safe Search did not work. Bioshock... Which one's Delta again? Which one's Delta?
that the Big Daddy? Oh, I see. Is that the one you play as in Bioshock 2? Yeah. Yeah. I guess that would have to be a duo build? I could see like a build based on like the Big Daddy from Bioshock, because what you could do is like a duo build, right? You make a big, heavily armored, barbarian type build. Maybe not even barbarian, because you'd want the Bioshock kind of like magic spells. I forget the exact word for them. But so maybe you could go for like a fighter spellcaster mix, and then have the little sister be like a buffing support character, maybe like a bard cleric or something that's just just exists. Like you cast Sanctuary on them, and then all they do is buff the Big Daddy by like with words of encouragement and like, you know, buffing spells. And then with that, and then this character just goes ham with like, maybe you could get the drill attack as like a piercing weapon, and then like have the Bioshock like what are they, like, it's plasmids? Yeah, plasmids. And then, yeah, you could probably do that. That would be a cool duo build. Dr. Doom is just a smart guy in a cloak and mask. Okay, well then, in my mind, I mean, if we had Artificer, I would have immediately said Artificer. But I can see him maybe being a wizard. In a way, just like focusing on the intelligence side of things. And he has a mastery of dark magic, whatever that means. Mind transference. To be honest, I could see this guy being a wizard monk with a focus on the illicit powers. Because you could go for the high intellect stuff, maybe pick up some sort of, like, dark magic from there or whatever. Dark magic, whatever that entails. Go for monk for the hand-to-hand combat, and then use the psionics. Maybe. Yeah, see you later, Eclipse. Thanks for coming. I'm wrapping up stream soon. Yes, lol, that's exactly what I was talking about earlier. That kind of thing. Dark magic, like necrotic disease and mind control. Is that the kind of thing that he does? Let me actually have a look at this. I'll go back on Reddit, but okay. He's a master of science and sorcery. He doesn't have any proper powers. He's like Iron Man plus Doctor Strange. Okay, I see. Science and magic. Genius level intellect, similar to Stark. High ambitions, dope design. Incredible willpower. Okay, yeah, so I can actually see like an intelligence wisdom-based character using monk for the unarmed stuff. Maybe even getting the bone spike boots to like do the jumping attack that knocks people prone, so you can go for the foot dive, you know, like that, right? Hi, Alvin! Don't worry about being late. I'm not sticking around for too much longer, but we are just having a little bit of a chat about just random build ideas that could be a thing but might not be videos. You know what I mean? Then a lot of Doom bots that look exactly like him, so maybe then you could also have some like summoner aspects to it as well. Again, maybe you could get that from the wizard levels. Maybe from that dark magic stuff you could go for necromantic wizard, getting some undead enemies. Like, because you're not going to be able to build Dr. Doom exactly, but you could build something inspired by him. So I could actually see a necromancer wizard monk with a focus on the psionic abilities actually being pretty good for Dr. Doom. Again, getting some summoning spells from wizard. Unfortunately, you wouldn't be able to get higher spell slots with monk levels. So, but you could also, you could go to like level 6 of open hand monk maybe to get the necrotic damage on your unarmed attacks, or if you don't care about any specific subclass feature, you could go for a 5-7 split, just picking up extra attack from monk, because you'd still have the same unarmed damage die, and then with wizard, go to level 7 and pick up things like blight and conjure minor elemental and such. You wouldn't be able to get conjure elemental, but you could get create undead from the ring, which would give you another powerful summon. I mean, I guess that's probably not in the same vein as the Doom bots. Again, if Artificer was a thing, I would be using that. Probably either Armorer Artificer. That makes the most sense to me. But then again, you're also just kind of making something close to Iron Man at that point. So I don't know. Dr. Doom's a tricky one, but I do think there is an idea for one that is definitely inspired by him. So there you go. Don't try and use Would You Kindly on me now. He got into his sorcery stuff so he could rescue his mother's soul from Mephisto. Oh, okay. What spells would you use as Shinobi prosthetics from Sekiro? Hi, Staggered. What spells would I use for Shinobi
prosthetics from Sekiro. Oh, I've platinum Sekiro, but I have to remember the Shinobi prosthetics. Well, there's the Parasol ones that are shields. That's obviously the shield spell. I know there's like the fire attack, which you could do basically it's like burning hands, because it's kind of like in a cone in front of you, similar to the prosthetic. There's also the ones that come with like the axe one that's like the heavy attack that like breaks through enemies' armor. I could see that one potentially being... if I go to the spell list, hold on. Maybe that one could be... I mean, technically the smites would work, but I don't know if you want to go for paladin for that. Not spiritual weapon either, because you're not summoning something. I don't know. That's a slightly more tricky one. I'd have to remember what all the prosthetics are. I'd actually have to look that up. Oh, sorry. Eclipse Phase? Never heard of that. I'll put it in my list of things to look up later. Yeah. I'll copy that. Ooh, that's another space one. Yeah, I'll look at that. I'll look at that later. Thank you. Thank you, Ben. Yeah, I'll look at that later. Right. The Black Knight from Monty Python. Just about to scratch. That's a Bear Totem Barbarian mixed with Fighter. Just so you can take as much damage as possible. Maybe with a bit of healing magic to regenerate those lost limbs. Let me just... Oh, there we go. Fix that. He would also be an Archfey Warlock because he studied magic from Morgan Le Fay. I see. I hate it when Mephisto steals me bum. I love the way that's worded. Yeah, so... Yeah, no, there's a couple of things. Sorry. I was talking about something. Yeah, the Shinobi prosthetics. Right. I'm actually going to Google those. I keep spelling things wrong, but that's okay. Oh, extra life. Blech. Okay. Yeah, so a grapple hook. I could see that being Misty Step. Right, so you've got the Shuriken Wheel. I could see that being just like... it's a bit tricky, because it's just a throwing weapon at the end of the day. That would just be like a simple cantrip. Maybe if you're leaning into the fire aspect from that one Fire Shinobi prosthetic, that could be Fire Bolt. But I could also see other cantrips working for that. Robert's Firecrackers, obviously, that could be Burning Hands. Mechanical Barrel, I believe that one is the... What does that one do again? I can't remember. Oh god, I'm going to be rubbish at this. Flame Barrel, yeah. Shinobi Axe of the Monkey, yeah, that's the Axe one. Which I think could potentially be done if there's like a weapon. There's not many weapon spells, though, that would like fit as like a one-off attack type deal. Dwarves or... You guys are doing it to me and I hate it. Dwarves or elves? In what context? Depends on the context. Yeah, so I can see... and then... Mist Raven's Feathers, that's easy. That's Misty Step. That kind of fits with the grappling hook thing anyway. Gyobu's Broken Arm? That's the spear. So maybe like a Ice Knife for that one. Sabimaru is the Poison Blade, so that's Ray of Sickness, or maybe even Vampiric Touch, maybe? Iron Fortress, that one's the shield, so yeah, just grab the shield spell for those ones. The Large Fan... Gust of Wind? Maybe. It's a bit tricky, but I can see what you're trying to go for here. And then there's the Finger, which I don't exactly remember what that does. Oh, it's the Finger Whistle. I don't know, maybe just get musical instrument proficiency for that one. Yeah, that one's a bit trickier, but it piqued my interest. Which is a superior species? There's no such thing as a superior species in D&D. At least especially not now when the options are so varied. Do you want to know what's better than any of them? Is freaking custom lineage, because you can just say, make whatever you want. You can make a dwarf that has stuff that the elves would have. Just, I don't know. Mechanical Barrel lets you upgrade weapons. Right. So, yeah, I mean, we can't... What about dual wielding for the axe and spear? Yeah, you absolutely could. With a... Yeah, you absolutely could do that. But you asked about spells, which is why I was trying to do that. But yeah, there are some limited spells that you could definitely use for that concept. Eldritch Knight comes to mind, because it seems like a lot of the useful spells you'd want to go for these Shinobi arms would be lower level spells, probably no higher than level 2. So I would actually say make a full level Eldritch Knight, get the multiple attacks from Sekiro, so you get 3 extra attacks, you get 4 feats, which you can use for any bonus you want, and yeah, use the limited spells to recreate some of the effects of the Shinobi arts. There you go. That's your Sekiro build. Just full Eldritch Knight. I've just closed the wiki and I don't know why. Oh, the Slayer page. Ooh, scary. Other than bugbears, they are the most superior. Elves or dwarves is the oldest debate in fantasy. Yeah, I know. You still want to make a Bloodborne Hunter in BG3, but it's rough. I've experimented with the idea. Let me talk to you about a build that I have ready to go, but I've never turned into a video because I think it's got some flaws to it. Because my favorite Bloodborne character is Lady Maria. I just kind of like the whole lore surrounding her, and I don't know, it's a fun boss fight. So I came up with what I call the Blood Flame Duelist, which is a Fiend Pact to the Blade Warlock at level 5 and a Battlemaster Fighter at level 7. So you get both the, you get like the almost like blood pact type stuff that the old blood kind of went for, as well as the fire attacks that she gets in her phase 3. You also get Battlemaster Fighter, which is going to give you an extra feat, the Battlemaster Maneuvers, so you can do multiple interesting and different attacks. And I also went for the Rupturing Blade as a weapon, because it has like it's like a fire rapier type deal. As well as you could wield a dagger in the offhand with dual wielded to get her Rakirio weapon. Plus, throw Darkfire Shortbow in the offhand in the range slot to get haste and fire resistance, which is perfect. Then you'd go for the padded armor, the Birthright Hat for a bit of extra charisma, the Cloak of Dispace placement to make you harder to hit, and also the Birthright Hat can kind of be a Bloodborne hat as well, the Firmer Arcanic Gloves for heat, and the Evasive Shoes for a bit of extra armor class, and then you'd go for the Amulet of Ball to inflict bleeding, because Bloodborne, with the Ring of Arcane Synergy to pair with, I guess Eldritch Blast if you wanted to do a bit of like extra weapon damage buffs and such like that. Then After Death Do Us Part, so that when you go down, you get back up with your phase 2. There's a Bloodborne build for you. I've never turned it into a video, but if you want the exact kind of leveling scheme and all that, are you a member of the Discord? Sorry, who asked this question? Phantom, yeah, you're a member of the Discord. I will post this in the community builds Discord channel, because I'm fairly certain you're a member of the Discord, aren't you? I'm fairly certain you are. You can find it there. Community builds. I've never turned this into a video, but you can absolutely use this if you like, because I think it's a pretty decent Bloodborne Hunter. It's just not quite... There's not as much bleed stuff going on. I'd want more bleed stuff going on. That's my only caveat to it. But yeah. Yeah, no worries. I hope... yeah, I think it's a pretty good idea. You can go for either a dagger in the offhand or just go for the Duelist Prerogative for, like, the most powerful kind of version of the build. But the offhand dagger, you could have, like, the Gleam Dance Dagger, which would give you a bit more armor class. As well as with, if you take the dual-wielding feat to dual-wield the Rapier and the dagger, you'll get an extra bit of armor class that way as well. And you have enough feats to make that work. So, yeah. Give it a try. The Elden Ring DLC is addicting. I've beaten it once, and I'm currently making a new character that's based on the martial art weapons as like a co-op build for the DLC. I'm going to play it a bit later. Hey Caleb, what's up? Guess what? Really? Well, it's time to end the stream, everyone, I think. To be honest, I am getting to the point where I probably need to end the stream soon anyway. Because I was actually kind of thinking, oh yeah, if I get an earlier start, I might be able to end it a little bit sooner. Because I got some stuff I need to get done today. Nothing too crazy, but I would like a little bit of extra time. So yeah, I might end the stream here. Since we're kind of slowing down now, we've kind of done everything that we wanted to do. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I think there was some interesting discussion today. I think we've come up with some really, really solid builds that I'm really proud of. 4 builds as opposed to the 3 I was expecting to do, so... Oh, well, that's more content for me. So yeah, I think I'm happy to end the stream here and just get on with... So we can all get on with the rest of our day, because I've got some shit to do. So yeah, thank you all so much for being here. You all take care and I hope your day goes well. Thank you. Technically 5. Technically, I guess, but I haven't written down those other builds. Those are just kind of ideas that I might come back to later.
yeah, I think I hope you guys that did ask me about some builds, I hope you guys get some usage out of the advice that I was able to give. But yeah, W stream, thank you. Thank you to everyone who came out. I'm super glad that you guys enjoyed it, but I am going to cut off stream here. I will see you guys all next time, and thank you for coming out. Next weekend, it's going to be a shorter stream because I'm going to be a bit busy next weekend. I might come back with maybe like a Pathfinder stream or something, or either the Pokemon run, just something a bit shorter, but I can do slightly later in the day. Like a couple of hours of Pathfinder maybe could be a bit fun. We'll see. It depends on on what I can kind of do time-wise. But yeah, depending on, maybe it'll be on Sunday or something instead, actually. But again, when the summer rolls round in about 3 weeks, there's going to be lots more live streams, lots more different videos. I'm going to be going all in on my first summer as a content creator. So, like, I hate saying that, but still, looking forward to that. But anyways, thank you to everyone for coming out. Nice to see you all. Nice to meet you. I hope I've been a long time watcher. You just forgot to subscribe. Hey, I don't do that. I don't like telling people to like and subscribe, but we are hitting 10K soon, so I'm kind of hoping more people will subscribe, and I think people are. The amount of subscribers I've been getting on a day-by-day basis has gone up a lot, I think, because we're starting to hit that milestone. So anyways, I'm going to stop ranting, stop going on tangents. I will see you all next time. Thanks for coming out.